Yes, good morning all. I'm sorry for this delay, today's delay. My session is in the afternoon. Uh, However, the speaker for this first session, common data environment, what is that, how it should be selected, and what does it mean? Because since yesterday, people talking about common data environment a lot. So the elaboration, things Mr. Atul Singhal has to give, but unfortunately he's not able to join. He's in Germany right now, and he's got some work, he said, urgent work. So this used to happen in construction. He used to be pulled by so many uncertainties, which is very common in construction industry. That's a reason why we need such kind of technologies and tools to assist us. So I'm going to take this session. I took 2-3 minutes to pull out all this slides and things related to CDE. However, I'll make this as a more interactive and other things, after my lecture for an hour or something about the CDE. Let's start this without further delay. And those who knows me, I'm Dr. Senthil, and I'm the faculty here in the civil department at IITPalakkad, and I'm also heading the engineering works division, which is carrying out overlooking the whole campus construction and maintenance, the whole campus. And you all know that we are building a brand new campus, the whole campus. And we have got an ongoing permanent campus project of worth around 600 plus crores, um, which is there. The one which you are seeing behind my screen is the site, which is the permanent campus site, which is at the foothill of the Western Ghats. It's a nice serene location. Yeah, let me start the presentation. You all hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, Nikunj, please be ready for this progress video. I mean, whenever it is demanded, I'll ask you. You can play that video. Okay. Right.
Okay, sir.
Right. So today I'm going to talk about digital transformation on public project delivery using common data environment and building information modeling. This is our experience. This is IITPalakkad Phase 1A experience. So it's me, you can see. So, so challenges in traditional construction, if you look at it, 30% is a project which will not meet the budget of the program. 92% of information is not available when plans are made or when it is required, and 37% of the material used in construction become waste. 10% of the cost of the project due to the change orders and revisions, and 38% of the carbon emissions are generated from the building. So this is a statistic given in many researches or research articles. Okay, so this clearly shows that there is a scope for us to improve. Right, construction industry has inherently a scope for a lot of improvement that we can make. And people know that one of the project delivery method which is picking up is BIM, use of BIM. It's a kind of a collaborative way of working. So when you are trying to work collaboratively among the different stakeholders, different participants of this particular project, AEC projects or construction project, then you may need to make sure that the information, whatever which has been generated in the inception, is being carried out throughout the project progress or project life cycle, I would say. Okay, so there are so many players that you could see. You have got BIM consultant, design engineer, and they can do design work and constructivity analysis that he is interested, and 3D modeling, clash coordination, value engineering, contractors, and quantity takeoff, producing shop drawings, and then using technologies like LiDAR, 3D laser scanner, and all those things. Yeah, so there are so many other technologies which are going to come into place, and we have to make sure that all the data, whatever which has been captured at various stages of the project life cycles, uh, are restored. And another study also mentioned that there is the construction softwares and tools, whatever which exist, is it has an inherent property of unclear communication lines among the team members. I mean, I have got softwares and tools which are existing, but all the stakeholders, they don't have how to communicate with each other. There is no standard format or a guidelines which give them that, okay, this is the way it should be done. Okay, so because of that, what happens is different revisions and different uh, you know different status of the drawings and design documents lies with the different stakeholders. For example, architect may be updating their drawing, but it is not there with the hand of a construction manager. So there may be some changes in the fascia column or whatever it is, which has not been communicated properly to the construction team, or which has not been communicated to the services, or even the changes are not made in the facility data. So what happens is there used to be a rework. Okay, so one study says that the rework itself is costing the construction industry over $15 billion a year. It's a huge value, right? $15 billion a year might be the budget for some of the countries. Okay, so that's the level of improvement or potential that we have to improve our construction project. Right. So when it comes for this, again, the ISO 19651 and 2, which has been explained, in the last day, very briefly and clearly. This ISO 19650 1 and 2, it's mandating the use of CDE, Common Data Environment. People are asking what is Common Data Environment and how it looks like, and what do we need to do with that? If you look at this left side, the construction statistics shows that these are all some of the things that we are grappled with. All this non-value adding items are there in construction sector. So we need some tool which can alleviate all those things. Okay, especially in the case of data. Okay, so the data is created and generated uh, during the various stages of the life cycle. For example, all data captured that is unused in the engineering and construction is 96%. So 96% is the data. So we are using only 4% of the data. What is happening with the remaining 4%? I don't know. And then initial data created during the design and construction phase, last by the project close out is 30%. So 30% of the data, whatever which has been created, is lost. And time wasted for looking the project data is 13%. Rework cost due to poor data and communication is 52%. Wastage rates of materials due to poor asset management is again 35%. So these are all another statistics which shows that there is an importance or a need of a CDE or a tool which can resolve the problem. CDE is kind of a tool which can use kind of a structured method to manage all the data created throughout the construction life cycle. And ISO 19650s are mandating it or giving it. Okay, so what do you mean by CDE? It's kind of a common platform. It can be intranet or a company server or internet, or it can be a group of people system which has been connected and managed. It can be anything. It can be cloud based, or it can be a server hosted, or it can be an intranet or internet, or whatever it is. Okay, so what happens is in CDE BIM level 2, it requires a fully collaborative 3D BIM. That means all the stakeholders have to talk to each other. Let me use the pointer. Yeah, all the stakeholders have to talk to each other and get it updated with all the information, right? So this is the traditional way of information sharing. It is one to one. It is one to one. If I'm sharing information with this guy, it is going to be shared one to one. But the other parties are not known to this particular data. The impact of this change, whatever which has been made or agreed among these two, may not be visualized by these two, but it can be visualized by the other parties, given that this information exists. For example, I changed the height of the ceiling and I gave it to structural engineer. Structural engineer said that, oh, it's fine. I'm an architect. I have changed this, and I forgot to communicate it to the services guys. So services guys comes and then said that it is all his design has to have a rework because the sizes or the space available above the ceiling or below the ceiling is not enough for them to accommodate their original design, whatever which was there. So this is something which is typically a problem which exists in most of the construction projects, right? So what we require is we require a common data environment, a central repository in which all the data are going to be stored, and all the affected parties and parties, whoever is involved, can able to visualize or see or access this data so that they can react accordingly. Suppose if a change happens, if a revision happens, automatically all these guys are knowing about that, and then they'll check against their design, the existing design. Okay, and the other way of telling this is it is a central repository where construction project information is housed. It is a single source of information for the project. So it is not like, okay, I tell some information to this guy and this guy tells some information to this guy and then again it will go to this guy. So when we are trying to do this communication, some information lost, possibility of some of the information lost can happen, right? And it is very common as well. Now, when I keep this information here in the central repository, whoever is going to refer, it's going to be the single truth. Okay, so it is used to collect, manage, collaborate, and share. You see this, this four activities. It can collect, it can manage, it can collaborate, and it can share the project information with the project team to in a very enhanced way. Mistakes are reduced, duplications are going to be avoided. And if you look at how this common data environment is going to be functional, it is going to be functional through a structured workflow. That's what it has been written. Like CD is a combination of a technical solution for capturing the information and managing it, collaborating and sharing it, as well as it decides what is going to be the process workflows. A CD solution could be a software or it could be another form of a tool. It can be an internet or intranet or anything. Okay, but it has to have a means to right. So it's a solution which is going to be helping in terms of managing the workflow as well as capturing the data. Right. There was this chat. I would like to see what is that. I hope it is not. Okay, I will see it. So if you have any trouble, please let me know. Okay, right. Somebody started drawing. I would like you to please don't use any annotation tools and other things in case. So there is, do you see the annotation? There is a line.
Yes, sir, we can see that.
What happened? Why this is? Okay. Let me close this and then I'll share it again. If somebody has done some annotation, please remove it. So what happens to the data in this is the data are going to be categorized into three groups. That yesterday Amarnath also has mentioned that there is graphical data, non-graphical data, and other data, which is the metadata, right? Graphical, non-graphical, and other metadata. So, for example, the data about, say, for a particular component, say when it is submitted, who submitted, and then what is the revision number, and all those things are metadata. It is not a data which is actually pertaining to the project, but it is the data which is very much useful when somebody is referring later, how the design has been changed over the period of time during the course of construction. So, right. So what happens in CDE is, according to ISO 19650, the CDE classifies the whole data in terms of 4 groups. One is work in progress, a data or a design which is happening during the development of the design, development of the data, generation of the data, and the data which is going to be shared with the project participants to collaborate with each other. It's a data which is used for collaboration. So one is data generation. Yeah, we have got work in progress. We have got shared data. Shared data is nothing but the data which has been shared among the different stakeholders. And then another one is a published data. So once it is collaboratively work and come to a commonality or conclusion among the different stakeholders, then that data has to be published. And that published data is going to be used during construction. And we have another container which is called archive. In that archive, all the as-built elements are going to be getting into it. So you have got work in progress within your team. Suppose you belong to, say, one company X. That company is developing the design or generating the data or drawing or whatever it is, and you are working on it. So that is going to be there in work in progress. And once you work and you wanted to share it to another consultant who is a MEP consultant, mechanical, electrical, plumbing consultant, that will be passed to that shared folder so that those guys are also accessible to this. So if you look at here, the shared one, almost all the project stakeholders will have an access. Here, you have an access control. And when it published, again, there is a different level of access control, which is nothing but nobody have any rights to edit it, which I will show you when I'm explaining it through our IITPalakkad CD. I'm going to show it to you today afternoon, and now also I'll show it to you after some time. Yeah, and then we have an archive. Yeah, so these are all some of the components, main components as per ISO 19650 for using any CD. So typically, what happens is from the non-published preliminary information, it changed into a published information by so many revisions. So you have got work in progress. All those things are work in progress. And work in progress in the sense, design is typically iterative in nature. So architect propose something, structural engineer will change it according to the structural stability. And then once they two are agreeing, it will go to another decision, another development. And in the another development, then that may also bring another level of an iteration. Iteration is nothing but drawing revisions and other things. Okay, so those things used to happen in a 1960, according to 19650 in common data environment, right? So we have got a data which can be a standard data or open data, that we will see it when we explain it in the this one. So if you look at our project characteristics, how we did it in our project, we have a client office, which is IITPalakkad, or Government of India. And we have appointed 2 architectural firms. And we have got one PMC, which is our CPWD, Central Public Works Department. And we have got one TPQA, Third Party Quality Assurance Agency, who will check all the quality of project execution. And we have got 18 subcontractors, more than 18, I would say now. When it was, this slide was created 3 months back, and now there are some more subcontractors which are on board. And more than 100 vendor firms are there in this particular project. And we are building 25 plus building spaces, which is of an average G+3, 25 building spaces. And each of the building space is spanning around 3,000 meters square. So one building is spanning around 3,000 meters square. You look at the quantum of work which is going to happen in this particular project. And more than 3,000 design drawings and specifications has been done. And the project is done in EPC mode 3. EPC mode 3 is nothing but engineering, procurement, and construction. EPC, the normal EPC goes like the main contractor or the prime contractor is responsible for engineering, procurement, and construction. But what happens here is in our project, we initially started with executing a project in a traditional way. It is something like appointing an architectural firm and getting the design done. It's kind of a design bid build, and go for bidding and then building. What happens is during the end of the design phase, the government, Niti Aayog was formed, and then Niti Aayog has a suggestion that any project which is more than 100 crores have to be done it through a EPC mode. So at that point of time, we stopped the architectural firm, and then we said that, okay, whatever which is a residual design which exists can be done by the contractor, main contractor. This is how this EPC mode 3 comes into picture. I mean, this is a new term which is only meant for Indian, public projects now. It's not norm for throughout the world or whatever it is. It is just because of the government directive we are getting into this, and then we are doing it. Yeah, and we mandated LOD 400, and we also mandated that the project has to have a 4D model, 4D the time element kind of a project control. So with that particular quantum of project characteristics, we would like to evaluate what kind of a CDE that is required. How are we going to select among different CDEs which exist in the market? So these are all some of the players, some of the big players in market who are supplying the CDE. CDE is a common data environment tool. In fact, we can also have our own if we are trying to host from our server or from our intranet. However, we decided to go with a service provider. So we evaluated all these things and selected one, and without any prejudice or any support or any advertisement to any of the stakeholders here or vendor firms here, we selected. I'm just telling, it is our ease, our kind of characteristics which demanded this particular tool, Autodesk BIM 360. Otherwise, I don't say that none of these tools are any way lesser than Autodesk BIM 360. Almost all the tools have the same capability and ease of use and all those things. So when we select it, we have considered all these different 4 characteristics: the functionality, what are the different options available in this, and how easy it is for the users, because I'm introducing a new tool to the project team which never been introduced with. Okay, and then how much is the pricing and how best are they in terms of giving us a feedback. So these are all some of the factors that we are considering, and we also have some kind of the same kind of metrics as a sub metrics within that to evaluate while doing evaluation. This is one of the study which has been done in 2018 for some other work. Yeah, and when there is a there is a conclusion about, okay, this is what the tool that we are going to use it. Now the biggest challenge is how am I going to get a buy-in among our stakeholders? Because as I told you, there are so many stakeholders. There are 20 plus stakeholders in this particular project. How am I convincing my stakeholders in this particular going to convince in this particular project? So how do you build companies buy-in? Where should you start the rollout? I mean, which firm has to first start using it? And how am I going to standardize all the stakeholders? Okay, so that's the need for standardization. If there is a standardization exists, I would have easily pointed out and then say that, okay, follow the project stakeholders, just follow the standard. Otherwise, I have to generate one, I have to develop one. That's where people were telling that, we have to have more and more standardized document or guidelines. Okay, will there be any administrator to manage this? And what is your roadmap of using the CDE is going to be look like? So these are all some of the challenging questions which were prevalent during my initial stage when I'm trying to actually implement it. And so when it comes for all these different factors, I told you, the sub factors of each of this are these things. See, when I'm selecting the CDE, I would like to answer all these things with the tools perspective. Like suppose if I take Autodesk 360, BIM 360, I will say that whether these guys are going to support all these questions. So this is how we evaluated it. We evaluated the CDE. CDEs are there, but you have to evaluate which is going to be helpful to your own project. Okay. So does the solution allow me to respect the BIM execution plan of my project? We have a BIM execution plan. And is it compatible with our file formats? And can access rights be given to different stakeholders at different level? And it can it be accessible with all mobile, tablet, PCs and all those things? Is it possible to access it even without network connection? Suppose if I am in the middle of the mountain, my site, and poor connectivity is there, is it okay if I can have without connection also I can have access to all the files and other things? So these are some of the questions, okay, which I asked for evaluating my CDE. Okay, so you can see all this CDEs. CDE related questions, selection criteria questions. So these are all some of the things that we have got it. And then we selected, as I said, we selected Autodesk BIM 360 because we have got, these are all other tools which are also exist, and price comparisons also made when we do an initial preliminary exercise. As I told you, a Dropbox itself can be considered as a CDE. But how suitable is that for you, or how much effort that you require to create a project workflow is differing from BIM 360 to this Dropbox or a Google Drive. Okay, it's just a common repository. It's like a safe, a common safe where you post all your data with access restrictions and other things. Okay, but what was our selection point was like these are all some of the capabilities of Autodesk BIM 360. So we selected Autodesk BIM 360 for our project. As I told you, this is our campus master plan, and currently we are living in this, and this is what the first day Mr. Nikunj has given you, showed you the Nila campus video. This is the tail portion, and the work which I am talking about is this one, the whole of 450 acres of land, and there is nothing. There is just a plain land with mountains and hills and all those things in between. You could see that this is a hilly terrain, and this is a hilly terrain, this is a hilly terrain. All these terrains are there in our campus, and so the whole thing is our campus boundary only. But what we undertook now is the shaded ones. The shaded blocks are something which are coming under phase 1A. Okay, the phase 1A of our project is shaded here. You could see that. Okay, if you want, I can also maximize this. Yeah, I think I can maximize only up to this. Yeah, so as I told you, the value is 597 crores, 27 months. The start date is the March 2019, 2020, sorry, March 2020, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, and then EPC mode 3, we have mandated this, and these are all some of the other items. See, now the latest one is 100 vendor items, 100 forms. G+3 and 2 combinations. So now it is G+2. Some of the scope have been changed, and more than 3,000 design specifications. And this is which yesterday Amarnath would have told you. The documentation is mandated for projects of this scope. You see that there are so many buildings, and this is phase 1A, and we have got phase 1B, phase 2, phase 3, and all those things. So if you look at after 20-30 years, the campus will be something looking like this, and the campus is divided into academic zone here, a hostel zone here, a recreational or playground here, and this is the residence for the faculty and other staffs, and this is the laboratory zone. So academic zone, laboratory zone, hostel zone, playground, and then we have one. And we also have our own water bodies inside the campus. We have got very nice water bodies, and you will see that when Nikunj shows in between the campus video. I think Nikunj, you can show the campus construction video now. I'll
Sure,
stop
sure.
sharing.
Okay.
I hope you could have seen the videos, the construction. And yesterday also, you could have seen the architectural walkthrough. So we are trying to transform this particular land, whatever which you are seeing now, into whatever which you have seen yesterday as architectural walkthrough. So, you could understand, or imagine how much amount of work which is involved and how many components are going to come, how much information is going to be generated. I mean, I would say that millions and millions of information, project information is going to be generated, and all those millions and millions of information are very much critical for institution like us, because we have to maintain and manage it for the forthcoming years. Okay, so any changes or anything should not affect the functionality of the building. So we have to know exactly where. Suppose if something chokes in future, some of the service line chokes in future, I should know exactly where it is. Our department has to know. I mean, as I told you, I'm heading this engineering works division. So our department has to get this complaint, and then we have to rectify it without disturbing the whole functionality of the institute in future. Okay, so this is what something which we were keeping it in our mind before we went for this CDE, because we want absolute data, and there is no loss which has been pertained, so that we can have a very good system in place. Yeah. So can you all see the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So for our CDE, we have decided, we have included licenses to access the CDE for all the individuals. So this is what our whole workflow design. So one of the very important thing which is required is we should know who is going to be performing a work in progress, and who are all the persons who are going to be involved in the share, and who are the persons who are having access to the published, and who are all the persons who have rights to change or move the file from published to the archive. And we have got all these stakeholders you could see. We have got two architect A and architect B, two design firms. Still their presence and input is required, because they did most of the design, and the residual design is done by our contractor. Yeah. So what happens is all these BIM tools that we are using, BIM 360 are CDE tools along with the BIM Rivet and Navis works. And this is what we are doing it. So what happens is initially architects will supply the design input to us, and it will go to CPWD for initial discussion. So you could see that it is going to be two-way communication, this side as well as this side. So it will be there in the CD, common data environment. And CPWD has their own checking and other formalities, and then they will pass it to a relevant design consultants who are working under this guys, architect and the CPWD is this one. Then what happens is the shared data is going to be archived accordingly in the central repository, which is CDE. So here is the place where it is going to be stored as version X, version 1, version 2, version 3, or whatever it is. Whenever an information getting renewed, it is going to be done. Okay, so that is which has been done, and we also have in future to have some input and output through a video cam and all those whatever drone videos and other things which you have seen. That also we wanted to use it as a means to measure our progress in a real-time basis and all those things. That is still in the conceptual stage. We haven't actually implemented it. Right. So what are all the benefits that we have realized using this common data environment? The first thing is, if director or the chairman of EWD or some other CPWD chief engineer or the contract manager wanted to see the status of the project, how the project is going on, what are the issues around the project, it is just a click of a button. We just click it, and then we know that how many issues are active, how many issues are closed on a monthly wise, and what is the means through which the total issues are resolved. And in total, you could see that around 675 issues from the good for construction drawing till now has been resolved. Now, I think yesterday's status was around 700 or 702 or 3. You could see that. I'll show you that some little demonstration as well about this. Right. Around 9,000 design revisions have been made in this particular project. And some of the drawings underwent, it is written 15 revisions. I would say that it is around 17, 18 revisions that we have witnessed. I mean, the latest one is 17, 18 revisions for a single document. One document, the design changes happened from the site input, site and vendor finalization, all those things will, trigger some kind of an input to the design team to redesign it. As I told you, design is an iterative process. You have to manage it iteratively, right? And then we also, as a manager, we also can make an intervention by looking at this. Say, for example, there are design coordination issues 287. It is at a point of time, not now, at a point of time. So I would call all the design coordination or coordination manager to make sure that this get resolved as soon as possible. Okay, so these are some of this. Then I could also see this. The predictive analysis shows that in the month of February or in the month of January to February, a lot of issues get closed, and in the month, a lot of issues are reduced, increased. All those trends can be useful for me as a manager to make a decision or do some intervention or site to make a decision. Okay, so I'll show you one by one. Automated version control. So all my drawings are going to be automatically controlled, with the versions. So you could see that now here it is V16, but this particular drawing has a version, say 16th version, you could see. Okay, and this one is 15th version. So anybody who is referring this particular drawing will know that this has a 16 version, and the tool will always shows the latest version. Okay, suppose I want to compare what was the difference which the designers have made from its previous version, I can easily do the comparison as well. And I can also do a markup in my CDE showing that, so where the changes have been made. So you can see that now. As discussed with the architect, the double wall in this area may be changed to a single wall. So this is one of the design decisions which is made from the site input. Okay, so this is something which we have to see. And then any RFI comes, we can also track it. See, now you can see the history of the RFIs. This gentleman has written something, and then he has mentioned, say, for example, the top level of the beam in elevation, section 22 and 33, and main slab can be at the same level as per the comments given by Mr. Suresh, executive engineer. So, the whole history of resolution of the whole RFIs are captured here, along with attachment and the clouds. You see the clouds in the last, picture, right? So I can attach this, I can cloud it, and I can do all those stuffs. Okay. So this history also kept it in a repository. This is what is called metadata. What we are seeing is the drawing that developed with the 15th revision or 16th revision, you can see. But what underwent it from first revision to the 16th revision, right? We don't know, right? That has been captured here in the form of metadata like this. And you can see the timestamps also. I could see that, between this and this, it took a lot of time. So I can call this guy and then ask him that, what is it? Why did you take so much of time to resolve this? You got it? So these are some of the project intervention that I can do. And version control also I can see version 1 and version 2. I can compare and I can find out which will be useful for me when I'm trying to do variation. Suppose if I want to issue a change order and variation order, then it will be useful for me. Okay, and then transmittals also, all the files are going to be sent through this. It has a transmittal facility as well. I can send files. So in the transmittal, I can see the number, and I can see what is the transmittal that I am doing, who is doing, who are the recipient, and when it is done, how many documents sent as a transmitter. You can see that. Well, this is something which is so easier for everyone to be on the same page. Anybody wanted to refer any information, they just log in and then they get all this information. And then for coordination meeting, it is so easy for us to go and then filter it. Suppose I'm talking about a particular building, I can go and then select the location, and I can talk. I assume that I'm having a meeting with architect number 1, so I will just look at only assigned to architect 1 issues, and then I go as an agenda item for the meeting, coordination meeting. Okay, so this is how this has been done. And then remote access, which everybody knows, during COVID time it was very much useful because everybody sits in their home and then they can still work in resolving issues and other things, because it is a web-based tool, a cloud tool. And we also introduced a checklist in our project. So the TPQA, third-party quality team, will go with the checklist. Say this is one of the checklists. See, look at the number 3,223. So this is checklist number 3,223. It's about concrete structure before pour checklist for A1 block, F3 level, floor 3 level, and the area is 4.6. So in this, a person goes and then check reinforcement approved or reinforcement reinforcement placed as per the approved drawings. If it is yes, he will put yes. If it is no, he will put no, as well as he will attach the document or a photo related to that where the mistakes are. If it is correct, then he'll also attach the correct photograph. You got it? So this is much more easier for me to track of everything in one tool or one place. And model accessibility, as I told you, I can give access details to everyone. So these are all the access details. These are all the restrictions you can see. So these people can't have an access to all these other means. So this is model coordination. They don't have an access, and they don't have an access to, crack any other site data, and they have access to see the project data. So this is how it looks like. Okay, I can control as an administrator, right? And then what happens, using this tool through BIM implementation also, we have also implemented, BIM level 2 BIM, LOD 400 levels. So this is one of our department building. You see the services and other things. Whenever there is a clashes and other things, that also can be done it in the same tool. You could see that in BIM 360 itself, I can see all these things. Whether I have a BIM, Rivet license or not, it doesn't matter. I can just use my browser to, open the Rivet file and open the Navis Manage file, and still I can see, visualize, I can walk through, I can see the clashes, and I can identify. And it is so easy for making an informed decision. Suppose if I want to make a decision about changing the layout, I would say that the lights and fans are so congested, so I can just see, and then I will change it, or I'll switch on all the lights, see the effect, and see how what changes can be made in this. So it's a very proactive way of maintaining it. And you look at this is a hostel block service lines, all the different services, how complex it is in terms of its lines. Okay, so all those things are done it without any trouble using this tool CDE. Again, I'm telling you, CDE has given access or functionality to do a class checking and all those things, and then compare the thing. And the model accuracy, so there is a scale. If I want to measure any of the length or breadth or size, I can easily. And if I click any of this component, I have a properties of that component as well. That is also very useful. And during site inspection also, it is very much useful. I go to the site, I look at one hand with this, where I am standing, and then the model, and then what is there in the site, and see that no, there is a light conduit which has to come, which is not there. What has happened? And there is a connection which is concealed here for CCTV camera or whatever it is, which is not there. Why? All these, all this checking, proof checking, and other things at site level also can be done with the use of this BIM models and other things with the help of CDE. Okay, so this was our, this was our envisaged items when we try to utilize BIM and CDE in our project. So we want to build usable digital data. Yes, to an extent we have achieved this. And we also wanted to eliminate human intervention, because previously human resources are utilized to stag all the revised drawings and other things. Now it is no more. I have eliminated. And it is a transparent organization. All the project stakeholders have same single truth, I can say, and I can also make a data-driven decision making, data-driven decision making, which has been done. So what was expected from the, say, government or CPWD or other agencies are, we have lack of guidelines and standards. This is what I said. And then we have also lack of awareness and resistance to change. Okay, so these are all some of the impediments to implement this. It was like a daunting task for me initially when I introduced this to the stakeholders. So when I'm introducing this to the CPWD team as well as the Fuji team and our TPQA, there was a resistance. No, we don't want this. But if I go and then tell them that now you are going to live without this, they would say that no, it's better we are relieving from this project. But that's a level of benefits it has been extending to the project stakeholders. If we can generate all those guidelines and standards, I'm sure that this can do wonders for the built environment. I'm going to show you a live demonstration of our project's CDE site. Just bear with me till I get enter into this. And your questions can be posted after you looking at that. Thank you. Just bear with me. Just bear with me. I'm just trying to get that site login. I'll take maximum 15 minutes, and my afternoon session will be replaced with Dr. Amarnath. He's going to present some use cases.
Dr. Senthil, can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Yeah. You have implemented this BIM load 400 on CPW with the help of CPWD and construction of the IIT campus.
Yes.
We would like to know that is any of the construction processes also involved in the BIM? Or
Yes.
is only the design and the
no, the construction. You have seen the checklist,
Yeah.
Checklist, and then the construction progress and all those things are attached with this, attached in the BIM 360 that we are trying to implement. I'll show you that. Just give me a minute. I'm just trying to get that site.
And secondly, in the monitoring the progress part, how do you see that the benefit derived out of the BIM adoption have accrued to?
I mean, if you ask me now, I would say there is that is not quantified, but we would say that a lot of rework which was avoided before it left with the physical rework. So after adopting BIM, we would say that very minimal clashes occurs, at the execution of the site. So that's so. Can you see this screen? My screen now?
Yeah. If it can be slightly blown up, it will be still better.
See, the thing is, this is okay. Anyway, I have a touch screen, so I'm just doing it. But I'm not sure. I mean, yeah. So this is the BIM 360 site which I have just logged in. I would say that it's like something like this. It's something like this. So I'm logging with my credential. So typically, every project has its own site. Okay.
Okay.
So we have got this site. You could see that we have got our project home, and we have different projects. I mean, we have different elements. We have phase 1A, phase 1B, and all those things. So I'll just take phase 1A. So phase 1A, this is the dashboard which I was talking about. So how many issues are there? how much it is getting resolved and all those things, I can get an insight. Okay, a quick insight I can get it. But what I was talking today morning is, as I told you, this is the field one. The question which the previous question that you asked. If I click this, I can getting into the field management module. So in which I go to the site and then I check everything, model checking and checklist and all those things. Okay, I can do the project management in terms of progress and other things using this, and the designers can do the model coordination using class reduction and other things. And this is something which has been widely used in the project, which is document management. This is what which I said. I mean, most of the CDEs talks about this. So since I am in a place where there is only Wi-Fi, I didn't get that. Wi-Fi signal strength is not that great here. Okay, so I have got these many folders. You could see there is a PMC. There is a folder called GFC water stream. There is a folder called whatever the designers, the two architectural firm that they have uploaded their design document. Okay, so whenever there is an RFI raised, they will definitely come back and then upload it again with the new document. So for example, we are here, these are all some of the other folders, the subfolders, I would say. So let's take an academic zone. Academic zone, I have got these many buildings. In these buildings, I'll just take one building, admin building. So I've got different documents. So I can say architecture. In the architecture, I have got two portions, drawing as well as PDF. So I can go and open a DWG file, a drawing file. You could see the versions, right? So you have got the metadata, who uploaded it, right? And if there is a markup or something in that, that will be shown here, markup. And if there is an issue still pending, that will also be shown there. It will be enabled. It will be dark. Okay, let me take one of this, version 4. I'll go to version 4 and version 3 and I can compare. I can compare this two and then get a comparative statement. What changes has been made in this? Okay, so it will take some time to activate. I'm just trying to cover more areas. So I'm just moving ahead. So PDF also, it is our project's mandate to upload it in PDF as well. So they have uploaded it in PDF as well. As I told you, architect doesn't have that BIM scope. The BIM scope has been given to the SPCL, the main contractor. So the main contractor has submitted their models, BIM models here in this folder. So this is owned by them. So if you look at the permissions and other things, there you can see, okay, let me go open the BIM model and then you will see. Okay. Yes. Let me take.
It will take time. It will take time, sir. It will take time.
One of this. So this is the model. So you could see that ASMEP is this one. This is a coordinated model. Architectural, structural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire. All are coordinated now with this. Okay. So you could see that. And if you want to attach any issue, you can attach an issue. There's a model getting loaded. Let it get low. My internet is very slow here, so otherwise even in the site it will be little faster than this. It's taking so much of time. Yeah, the model is there. I would say that this is a kind of a regular pan, and then this is something fit view, you can fit into the view, and this is an animated walkthrough that you can click this and then you can walk through. So this is the guidance. So I can just go and then click it here. So it takes me to that particular location, and then I can maneuver inside with this. So you don't require a tool to have it to, see all those things. So suppose if you don't have a Navis Manage, still you can see because you have got this Win 360, which will give you what is what has been there. This, you can see this is the fascia column, and if somebody is standing in front of the corridor and then want to have a look, it will be looking like this. I would see that there is a strip which is coming. If the guy is not finishing it, then I would say, and the bolts and that. Let it get low. Yeah. So if I'm standing at this particular location, this is a plan view of this particular room. So let me quickly move this so that it becomes easier for me. So I would see what are the components which are there in this view.
What could have been the cost on the project for this implementation of the BIM with low 400 load? Approximately, sir?
That economic, so that we haven't actually worked, but I would assure you that it will not be more than 100 or 200 per drawing, per square meter. I can see 100 per square meter or something like that.
Okay.
I'm talking about the BIM as well as the CDE implementation. Okay.
CD implementation.
But but the value that it brings in terms of savings on the cost and rework and the quality, which is much more than whatever which is.
That can be visualized. It's a tremendous benefits which we are going to achieve by implementation of it. So I think that the cost will not be gone beyond 1% of the overall project cost.
Yes, it is not going to be 1%. I'm sure it is 0.5 or something like that. Not more than that.
Okay.
Yeah, see, you can see that now it is 705 issues. Okay, so this is one of the issue. That's about a large infrastructure. So you can attach a file. So it's so easier. Otherwise, we used to actually send an email, attach whether the attachment is correct or not. So many questions used to be there, which all can be can be eradicated with this. And in this, the guy hasn't made any markup or whatever it is when he is giving his this one. If you want, you can have a markup of that particular item. In this particular issue, he hasn't marked up, but he has mentioned an issue. Please clarify the following. Okay, here it is. See. So it's so easy, a click of a button that you see everything which is related to this. And we also can have, does this qualify for variation? What is the nature of variation? You can specify all those things. So you can say yes, no, or since I'm an administrator, I can have access. Otherwise, I don't have an access if I'm not an authorized person to operate this. Okay, so whole process is access control, as I told you. And we have activities. For example, in July 15th, this is generated. And July 16th, our office have assigned to this guy. And he responded on 20th. And July 20th, this is the status now. Right? So you could see that the information communication happens so quickly, but which used to take around 10 to 15 days in a typical way. Okay, so these are all some of the impact that you could see, or you could say. So now, as I told you, if I'm talking about all the class related issue or coordination related issue, then I can talk about that. Or otherwise, I can filter it. let me take some other. So I wanted to see all in one block, say admin block. I wanted to see any issue. No, there is no issues in that. So I don't see that. And okay, let me take classroom complex, any issues. So these are the two issues which are there in the classroom complex, which has been a long time pending issue. So these are all some of the things that I can quickly intervene, and then I can see what is the reason why it has been lodged for a long time and all those things. So it's for meeting agenda, it is so simple and easy for me to go with that. Okay. So this is one thing which I said, and we have also got our quality checklist and other things which I have showed you. And with this, I will wind up. I would like to actually do more since this disturbance happens in the morning. I was not able to. In fact, I thought of actually demonstrating this for a longer time, but I was given a chance to, yeah. So you could see that, these are all the issues which are generated with respect to quality. Okay. For example, block work start out without setting out, without cleaning the area. So this is one of the, so later it was immediately intervened, and then this whole block work has been dismantled and removed the slush and other things. So this is which happened in this case, because I know this case. Okay, what happened and all those things. Work completed. You see that status? So that if we want to inspect that place, we can immediately go and then inspect. Our team members can go and then inspect. They'll put ready to inspect sometime as well. Now it is work completed. But if they put ready to inspect, at that time we have to go and then inspect. Okay. Right. So this is how it works. It works. The whole thing works. Right. So we have got templates. You can create a new template, a new checklist that you can have, and you can also have reviews for checklist. If there is a checklist, then you can review, and transmittal also can be possible. So all those things are easy, and and it can be easily managed. The whole process of site management can also be easily managed with this. Not only design I'm talking about. And everyone in the project will have the same single truth. Everyone access the document from this particular folder, and which is latest and which has been well coordinated. So this is how the whole system works. So with this, I will wind up, and I will also go to possibly project admin. Then I will show you the access restriction and other things, how I can give. See, I can see who logged in, who did all those things. And I can see the members who are all present in this whole project. This is where the access rights, you could see. I've given access to somebody, I've denied access to somebody. So this is the whole access control system, okay, that I can give. And in the folder also you can give the access. For example, I'll go to the other project. I'll show you folder also. As a project admin, I can do all those things. Okay, now I'll go to the folder, document management. See, hardly it took 3 days for me to train the CPWD engineers who doesn't have any idea about this. And 3 days in the sense, in the first day training, second day hands-on, and the third day they are on their own. Okay, suppose if I want to give access to somebody, I'll go and then I'll give permissions. Then I'll choose the person, and I can have different one. You see, view only is for the published folder. Edit, view, and edit. I can have view, download, upload, edit. Right? That is for the shared folders. So some folders are shared, so where they can make changes. Okay, and some people want a full control, upload, download, everything. That also has been given. So these are all access control things, as per ISO 19650, whatever which is required to ensure that the workflow that also can be done it. Okay. So with that, I will wind up today's CDE session. Yes, I'll answer the questions one by one. We have got yes. Sir, what will be the role of third-party inspection like PMC? Yeah, that's what I said. That quality document and other things, which is like a third-party implementation, third-party quality check and other things. That they are the guys who are doing this checklist and all those things. They can do it. Industry, right? That has to use the structural drawing directly from the model. Yes, they can use it, but in our project, unfortunately, we are not using it because the contractor decided not to include the reinforcement in the model, because the model will be loaded if we load with the reinforcement, and it takes more time, more space to load it. So they still use this one, but we demanded them to submit it when they submit the as-built model. Let's see how it goes. Yes, can we have a control on cash flow analysis of the project in different phases? Yes, we can do. We have got a director's dashboard in one of this folder where the director can see how much is the project team will upload what is the expenses which has been done until this month, and what is the projected expenses, so that we can write to the government and ask that for the next quarter this is the money that we require for this particular project. So that much of a level of control is there. Yes. Any other questions? You can unmute and then you can ask. Otherwise, we can wind up if you're happy with. If you're not happy with, I'm sorry that I couldn't make it because I was underprepared. I was not prepared very well to take up in the morning. My agenda is different to demonstrate this CDE implementation. But unfortunately, I have to take what is CDE also. So just 5 minutes before the session starts, I came to know about this. That's the reason why it happened. So hope you guys are bearing with me. Yes. Now, if there is no more question, yeah, does 60 BIM is also implemented in this project? No, we didn't. We are going to go for 4D and 5D, and 4D is mandated in our tender document. So 4D is definitely there, and we have recently signed an MOU with Bexel Manager, who's a player in 4D and 5D as an institute, IITPalakkad. You might have seen in LinkedIn and other places, and it's advertised widely, or in our website, it has been there. So that agency will come and then assist us in terms of reaching the goal of 5D in this particular project. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe the next FDP or next forum conferences or workshops, I may be presenting that. Yeah.
Yeah, sir. This is Venkatesh.
Yes, Venkatesh.
Yes, sir. This kind of case study is very much needed for us to know Indian scenario conditions. So that the EPC mode is not favorable, even though you tried a good amount of efforts, sir. Because in EPC mode the owner don't have that more control on it. So what are the challenges you faced this kind of EPC mode, and what kind of mode is favorable in your point of view like that?
See, for me, CDE workflow have to be designed in a different way for different project delivery methods. Whether you go for a traditional one, design build, or you go for a design build or EPC or any other modes, it's just a workflow that you have to design it. I showed you one picture with all the small systems and all those things. That requires tremendous amount of time during the initial phase of the project, so that once you design that, then CDE is going to be functional as good as in any other form of implementation. Okay, so doesn't matter whether it is EPC or Even in EPC, the owner, you can't say that the owner doesn't have a role. The owner still has a role. But EPC, within the EPC team, they have got their own subconsultant and others. They have to do the same job. The only difference is it's not a two entity. It is going to be one entity. Maybe the EPC company will play a proxy to a owner for some time until the project is handed over. He is playing like a owner. Okay. Otherwise, all the stakeholders and the different consultants and others are similar as that of whatever set that we are having it here. It's only the commercial terms which makes the differences. That's it. Okay, Venkatesh, are you clear?
Yeah, understood.
Sir, one more question, sir. How you manage to interact with so many vendors and to bring it into that they are able to understand the CD, because there are large
vendors. Yes,
vendors.
You are right. I mean, we are not giving them all of them access to this. Some of them are channelized through the contractor, because if you are trying to do it with the 200 plus vendors, then you need 200 licenses, which will cost a lot. Okay, so currently we have got around 75 licenses that we are managing it, and we also among the 75 we also attributed some of the things to the contractor side, like 25 licenses we obtained from contractor. Remaining 50 we are owning it as an institute. Okay, so I mean, it depends upon it. That is where the research and development is required. The value proposition for different players and their benefits for this kind of tools has to be foreseen before and then attributed in the contract itself. Then it becomes much easier to share the expenses. Otherwise, one party will be taking up the whole burden. Of course, we IIT, we are getting the benefit, but still, if it is shared, it becomes nullified. As you asked the previous question, you mentioned 0.5% of the total cost has been attributed, which may be kind of affecting the profit of the contractor or somebody, right? But I would say that you would get 1 or 2% as a savings, which is going to be attributed to. But if it is shared among the different parties, again that burden is also going to be reduced. So which will give more value to the value proposition to the different stakeholders. So that's it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much. And as I mentioned before, due to the first session disturbances, there will be some small changes. Instead of my session in the afternoon at 2 o'clock, Dr. Amarnath will take a session at 2:30, 2:30, not 2 o'clock. Iterating it again. The next session is at 11:15 as it is agreed. But the one which is in the afternoon is going to be not at 2 o'clock, it is going to be at 2:30, and which is handled by Dr. Amarnath. And he's going to show you some of the use cases, some of the projects that in which that they implemented BIM and then get the benefits and all those things. Okay, right. Thank you so much for your attendance, and I wish you all the best. Thank you. Okay. So I'm happy to introduce you our next speaker for today, who's Mr. Raja, who's having a very vast experience in terms of implementing BIM, and he's an implementation expert in L&T construction in India. So I welcome you, sir, and I'm sure that your valuable experiences are going to be kind of a motivation to all who are participating in this particular FDP. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for accepting this, and please take over.
Thank you, sir. Hi, I am Raja, working as a BIM technology and implementation in there is a central digital engineering team is there. That means this is connecting to that entire L&T constructions to us. That means we have here overall ICs, we call actually independence companies and SBGs. So overall 11 companies is connecting to us to implementation in BIM platforms in L&T. So I have overall 22 years experience in various projects, including residential projects, commercials, airport, IT parks, and so many all different. I have experience in that, even what the residentials, each and every project having different scenarios, different requirements. So lots of different experience I have actually. That is good for me actually, while I'm in LNT. Why? Because each and every project is different. Definitely it won't be the same, right? So that is what today also to talk to the to what people saying that don't want to be strained to that, which is our ISO or maybe the pass or BS. They said this is what I want to do. So not like that. So we have to be rigid to that what is requirements. Okay, and maybe I can just complete off my introductions. And I'm involving the deploying of relevant appropriate BIM technology across the business. And I'm closely working at, yeah, please. And I ensure to get that feedbacks on all the technologies that are implemented on various projects and address the technical issues that may rising. And I'm involving in these integrations with these other digital initiatives of the companies. So that means that is what now we have to be go ahead for that level 3 position. That means level 0, 1, 2 is there. So most of that our country achieved as of now level 2, and level 3 we call maybe IDP or blockchains. So this technology now we are going to in reality, and also working in conjunctions with the core BIM teams, which I told you that here there is 11 different companies in the below that our team is there. So these peoples we actually suggesting to them and giving guidance. So how to create the strategies, how to do the procedures for in the projects, and what the protocols we have to be followed. These are all we helping to the teams and creating awareness sections and giving ideas and creating the SOP documents. So these are all we actually functioning now. I mean, handling the present in the role, my role. Okay, so maybe we can jump out to that presentation. So the presentation is in need to be shared, or already I'm shared with you. You are sure I need to be shared.
Sir, you have given share rights. If you wish, you can share. Otherwise, we will.
Then I can share solution.
Yeah, yeah, it will be much better if you share. Yeah.
Sure. So before I'm going to the subject, I want to be say that what case study now I to explain to you all. So actually, the information management process for mobilization in the BIM project. That means there is a initially our project will start based on the OIR. That means organization requirements, and next is AIR, asset information requirement will be raised, and further in that, so EIR will be raised, right? So these are all maybe you are last few days which is happening this our FDP program, you may be aware is like, so where that EIR if is receiving, and based on that if we are falling in the project, no issues. But we are not in the position still, the India is not in that maturity is got it. If you asked, maybe you are working in the US project, UK, Singapore, and maybe in Gulf countries, or maybe you can refer Netherlands, Australia. These peoples are now they just little bit maturity they achieve. If you more achievement, if you see the Singapore, it's more achievement done and using lot of that initiatives using that same, like now Netherlands started creating the old cities. They're creating now 3D BIMs because of they want to be to know that what is each and every home, what are that built, how they built, all the details is required. If even if you see the US, if you want to be built anything, you want to be get it approved from that BIM department in US country. So that you have to the same what you upload only we have to be consecutive. That means you have to be submit your 3D models. So their intelligence, the keeping our 3D model intelligence or the keeping database. If there is a tomorrow there is a fire issue, they want to be come and rectify, means they don't want to be find that where is our layouts and where is that approved item. These are all things they don't want. They just make it they go to that websites and they can start to navigating. Okay, this is what this build is. This building is built. that is the way up to where we can able to chase it out. Okay, maybe these all our peoples also explained a lot. So while we are going to this mobilization in the BIM projects, if you see, if I'm getting EIR, so there is a one scenario where I have to be followed. That means I need to be creative on strategy report saying that if I have a EIR, I have to be followed. These are all the scenarios. If I don't have the EIRs, I have to be then what standard I need to be followed. That means we have to be check it out whether in this particular project having what are all scenarios I want to be follow, and saying that in this maybe here you all the based on the experience, maybe if I'm talking that maybe I have more that experience in IT parks, maybe then IT parks maybe there no maximum utilities won't be there in that top floors, only in basements. Okay, and while we are going to that say material handling, so there is huge materials need to be handled. So maybe in that project we don't have that BIM requirement, but how where I have to be implement, that means what things I want to be taken care. That means whether if I want to be go to the procurement, so generally based on my traditional way, the procurements is taking the time uh, uh, to order the equipments, and I don't know how many equipment, what is the quantity of the equipments. Maybe this delay will be take 2 or 3 months. So like that, maybe I can use in this platform. So because of that, I can reduce that much. So like that, we have to be think about it. If there is a project requirement for BIM and what are the technology, maybe they guide us to be what need to be followed. So there are no any issues. But without the BIM requirement, it's what the scenarios we have to be think about. If we are going to the new project and there is no BIM requirement, so we have to be sit with the team and we have to be finalize that where is time taken process. That means in traditional way, where is time taken? We have to be to know that, and very difficult to be. You need to be convinced to them to bring this new technology. Why? Because they all already experienced in the traditional way, and there is a transmissions very difficult, not easy task. You are thinking about we can just go to that say that the if you implement the BIM we'll be able to achieve it. It's not. Why I'm saying that, I'm practically I'm saying here, even here all experienced people we explained a lot, even also they won't be ready to take over this platform. So how we need to be convinced means we have to be say that I don't want to be implement for the entire thing. So at least where we are facing the issue, where is time taking process, there alone you need to be concentrate. So for that, where what are all technology I want to be bringing inside and adapt to that project. So that is our success, and because of that we can able to one step milestone we can achieve. Further we can go ahead one by one. So this is what our peoples need to be keep in the mind. Our most of the people say, thinking about if I'm bringing BIM means enough for me. It's not like that. The BIM is that only the process. In the process, there is so many hurdles is there inside. So each and every hurdle is very difficult to be handled, and proceeding to the next step is also very tough. So we have to be think about it. Maybe our peoples who maybe explain, they just simply say that if you done it, maybe scan to BIM very easy. It's not the easy thing actually. If you done the scan to BIM, we have to be collect that coordinates. After that, we have to be create that categories. After that, we have to be create that categories may functions. After the functions, you need to be create 3D model. Further that you have to be create your properties. So you need to be think about, just they said if you done the scan to BIM, you will able to get that 3D models. Not like that. So there is a several steps is there inside. So for that need to be take minimum 20 days to be generated on 3D model. Not easy thing. That's what I'm coming to say here. Practically. Okay. Same like you have to be ensured before you are saying that okay, sir, we will able to complete means not easy thing. Each and every steps, what are all the steps is there, we have to be create the strategy. Okay, that's what I want to be come to explain to you. So maybe I am which is I'm saying that clear to you all. Okay, so I'm just going to that what is design build process. Now today I'm just talking about only in project which is IGATE, maybe EIR with EIR or without EIR. Okay, two scenarios also I can explain. So first scenario, if we see the build process, what are things we need to be keep in the mind actually. So preliminary drawings will be available. Okay, and there is two scenarios also will be available. One people's maybe consultant, they will be fixed, and construction is maybe another team will be concept. Then there is a difficult to bidding the team saying that this much of cost, maybe it's income for my conception, this much cost for my detailed design to be created. So both is, again, it won't be matched. Because of that, the cost problem will be there in the end of the project. They couldn't able to achieve what they are planned. So finally, they are facing in that means problem in the cost, and because of that, they are getting losses. Okay. So even if we are going to the BIM also, you need to think about it. If I am a construction team, maybe next part is if maybe I am a DMB package if I am taking. So DMB package also the BIM is saying that, but if we the getting out of that practically in that output will be get only 2 or 3 months after only. We won't be get the same thing, right? We have to be do the analytics, we have to be create that, and we have to be QA need to be do, and we have to be validations need to be do. We have to be get approval from the client. Each and every scenarios, if you take one week, it's gone to 2 months. So even the BIM is there. So how that milestones will be fall in the projects. So this all we have to be check it out. The first milestones, what scenarios will be there? So maybe the foundations or maybe the exhibitions, whether I will able to show that exhibitions to the peoples. So that is more help to my project to initiate. I want to be concentrate for that exhibitions. Like that, we have to be create. So how we to be create, I will be tell you in that coming slides. Okay. So same like we are bidding like this, separate. It's in all in very carefully need to be take the time actually time. So generally, we'll thinking about this will be within the 20 days will be complete. Not easy. Okay. And finally, while we are doing the details, even that construction part which is now silo from bidding time and design also is silo, some of the things the strategies need to be correlating my design also. So that is the reason here we have to be bring design build method actually. That means design team and construction team at least the 30% before our construction team need to be is in our board. So they have to be give their own methodologies. That methodologies we have to be check it out. If maybe say that if I need to be construct one pair of metro train, so what methodology they need to be followed? What are all things I need to be taken care in my design team? So in that, the BIM what help give to that design team and construction team. So these scenarios we have to be created. Then only it will be used to implementing in the BIM. If we just simply now even also I'm saying that if somebody to ask that why you are using that this process, they don't know. They say that I don't know. The client is asked, I'm doing that. So we have to be defined it. If there is a no requirement, we can directly go to say that I don't want. Okay, if you it's really requirement, but clients is not actually is giving thing, we have to be go and say that if I made this, so if this analysis is there and I need to be connect with my through BIM technology, then only I can able to get this 100% result. You have to be proven it and you have to be sure. Okay, so what I'm coming to here is the design build team should be design team and construction team should be in correlate and need to be work on it. Then only it will be used to making output of the BIM will be value. Maybe you can use for that same for construction methodology. The same for you can use for your 4D this one sequences. That means you can construction team maybe can say that I can maybe able to the PR maybe I can some 30 meters for the PR, maybe I can 10 meters only I can able to cancel. If there is a precast, maybe they can bring it and keep. If there is a difficult or construction area, we couldn't able to bring that PRs, then they need to be constructed on their land. So these are all the construction problems we have to be know that, and we have to be create that based on that whether they could able to bring that equipments and whether they could able to block that area. What are the scenarios we need to be know? These are all more helpful to be has to be while creating the design drawing itself. That means the detailed design once we are creating, these are all scenarios should be know. Presently, what will happen is in the silo, our peoples are designed and given to the construction, and construction team say that, however, this is not able to, I can able to construct because of these are all the issues. And because of that, the time which is we planned will overlay, and we couldn't able to achieve it, and in the end of the day, it's delay on to finishing the project. Okay, so the conclusion is design and construction should be in correlate and to be work. Okay, and if I am started to my project, okay, now I am my construction team and their design team is correlated. So what are the scenarios I need to be taken care once mobilization of the resources? Maybe I got the project, what I want to be do. That means lead appointed party, the given this one project to me. So what resource is requirement? That means I have a 10 peoples of that, which is I have a percent requirement resource, whether that resource is enough. The resource means not only for peoples, apart from there is a hardware, software, these are all resources only, okay, systems and IT infrastructure details. These are all only we call resource. Maybe this project we need to be connect cloud CDE technology. Take example of CDE technology, data common data environment. So in the common data environment, if you say one of the metro project is that maybe this who that surveying of that land, the GIS drawing, the made in the civil 3D, okay, and which is developed in my peers, developed in the Tekla, and taking this rail tracks may be made in the open rail, and the electrifications may be done in the Revit, and stations built in the Revit. So whether these are the resources actually. So this many different softwares they are used. Whether how I should be bringing everything in one platform in interoperability issues. So what issues maybe will be there? How I should be bringing say. Okay, these are all we have to be identify very initially day. One day, the 0 day we call actually. The 0 day we have to be create this document saying that if I'm bringing these all the technologies, this platform is required. Maybe say that I need to be bring for digital iTwin. So digital iTwin more reliable or easy for me to be any different technologies softwares can able to bring inside and collaborate easily. Why? Because the end of the day we should be give the coordinated model, and we have to be interoperability issues should be need to be cleared out, and what I design the based on the parameters they have to be produced, right? That means what I'm saying that is 30-meter height of the my pier. So the 30 meters pier should be what I design should be know my construction team. So that same should be know that my QA QC team in the site, whether the same only they can sector. Finally, my client should be know that means my this consultant should be know that what I approved only they are designed or not. Sorry, constructed or not. The same only whether wind-up team will be taken over, whether the same which is approved by my consultant only constructed or not. So we have to be go each and every steps means which I creating the initial day, that data should be able to view this all the peoples. This is the one of the scenario. Why? Because they want to be required to be connect to asset information, or maybe in this another scenario we can able to take. There no any asset requirement need for the consultant client. I want to be only track on for the my material and maybe my plan with structures. So what I need to be take that steps. So you have to be ensure that based on my actual plan with actual, my construction abilities and my quantity to be take out. That is enough for me to be followed. So you can work out based on that requirements. I don't want to be bring again here Kobe. Why? Because I'm not following any asset information here. I want only requirement of the quantity. I want only to see my constructability. Only I want to be seeing my planners actions. So that is enough for me. Whether I'm using the beam for safety, it's good and well. We can do that also. So like that, we need to be taken from our construction team. So what scenario you want, what benefit you maybe will be get out from this bringing this technology, we have to be suggest to the team so they can realize. Why? Because they also knew, they don't know what benefit coming out from this technology fine use. We have to be explain to them and show that some case studies to the peoples, maybe relevant of which is some out companies, some other companies, maybe they done it. The case studies we have to be take and show to them, and we have to be before the implementing. We have to be showed a trial out of this, whether what I'm saying is, that means what I'm taken that case study is, whether it's value or not. So these are all things we have to be check it out. Okay, and further saying that once the details are, I will able to get that. So further, I need to be go to the project kickoff meetings. So project kickoff meeting means not my client. Still, I am in my office only. So I need to be should call that my all the stakeholders. Maybe if you say which is I'm taken metro example. So each and every is one stakeholders. We call structural is one stakeholder, okay, and this civil is one stakeholder, and architecture is one stakeholder, MEP is one stakeholder. So this all we call and saying that this is what we are planned and we have to be go on. This is the way to be achieve my project. So like that, we have to be explained and show that benefit in the day. And this is the way, if we done, this is the way of output we will be able to get. So like that, we have to be show and to be get achieved. Same like that delivery team skills. So here only our team skill will become. That means what our people is that whether I have a this source in with me, or I want to be higher, or I want to be who is there. Maybe I can give the training to them to be get achieve to further to go on the project. So this is what that mobilization resource we have to be think about the day one, that means the day zero of the project. Okay. Second is the mobilization information technology. This is we now decided. So what are softwares is that whether the software we have and how many days to be procure and how many days to be get it in my system. So these milestones you have to be create. So these milestones you need to be add in your project schedule milestones. Why? Because if maybe you are thinking about today itself, I will be able to get. If you say examples of BIM 360, if you order, you won't be get today. Why? Because you couldn't able to purchase in the BIM 360 in India. You have to be go to US only. You need to go to US. You need to be straight that. That means you have to be through our vendors. That vendor will be routed to the US. Again, it will be take 1 week to be get and enabled in our systems. So these are all process you also should be know that where if I am purchasing of this software, how many days to be take and get back to me to use reuse. Okay. So there is, if you see, there is a several softwares are available each and every stage. We have to be see it whether this analytics means what are softwares I want, and maybe authoring what are things I want. If I'm using that only viewing purpose, what are softwares I want. I don't want to maybe go to synchro, right? I just want to be view only. I don't, but that means I want to be reduce my paper content, so I can go to the digital. Whether I want to go to synchro, not required. Maybe you can use it. Some viewers, maybe just BIM 360 viewer is enough to you to transfer your data, and the site to the peoples can view through their even them Android mobiles or iOS or Windows. We can able to see. That's what the purpose we have to be checked, and based on the software we have to be raise it. And our peoples are mostly getting trouble in that choosing the hardware. While choosing the hardware, whether if I'm going to Revit, if maybe if you see there is a latest technology I want to be purchased, or I want to be it's medium, it's enough for me. So what core I want to be go, whether I want to be go 10 core or 11 core, there is saying in the market 72 core, something is what I want to go. You have to be see that what is the project, my depth of the my project, what are the data I'm feeding to that. So based on that, I have to be purchase your hardware. That means you are purchasing your hardware. Don't want to be go for maybe in i10 is there now, maybe i9, i10 is there. I don't want. Why? Because that is 16 core. In Revit software, one core is enough to be run. We don't want that many cores. Okay. You maybe can cost to reduce. Some of the people, what will happening, they're suggesting that high level software hardware, because of that the cost will be increased, and who may be implementing bringing in the companies, they are little bit scared on that. I want to spend this much of money, then I don't want to go here. Why I want to be initially spend this much of money? But end of the day, the entire process, if they used, they will be get good return. But the initially that our company or maybe that owners will be see that this much cost if I am spent, what benefit I will be get. Why? Because the 0 day you couldn't able to explain that what benefit you will. Once they achieve the entire that life cycle only, they will come to know that this money percentage I can able to savings, right? The day one, the savings we couldn't able to, and very difficult to be explained to them to be convinced and implement. So while we are going to that, we have to be minimal. It's enough. Don't want to be high-fies. Okay. We have to be see that software requirement. What is that requirement is there? Whether if I'm going to the synchro, what is the requirement asking in the system hardware requirement? You have to be steady, and the based on that we have to be chosen all the things. If I'm going to build as per the ISO, that means each and every services up to 250 MB only we have to be followed. There is a volume strategy, zone strategy is there. Whether I want to be whether I'm following this or I'm not following this. So these are all you will able to know that in our resource matrix while you are creating itself. So once you created, you can easily choose your hardware and software and the delivery team of your CDE. So you maybe can suggest that who are on that CDE again, which is I'm saying right, whether client, main contractor, subcontractor, and project team, project development team. So if you put this CDE, there is more than 40 roles you will able to see in that one project. So whether in that 40 peoples they require that same access and the same the thing they want to be load it, or maybe they want to be only viewing our 3D models. So these are all the roles you want to be configure in the day one. So once that role configurations, if you done, you just name it, say that this is the guy client. He don't want to be see my workings. He can maybe see only the approved drawings only. You maybe can give that only the particular folder access. So that is controlled by you. You can easily can restrict that rest all documents is safer and sufficient to them to be give that particular access. Okay. Same like that information exchange. This is what I'm coming to say. That MIDP, that means a master information delivery plan, or maybe a task information delivery plan. So if I'm taking that one scenario of disciplines, architecture, structure, and like that, there is a several disciplines, right? So this TIDP will be created by that each and every discipline. Okay, these are all this I am receiving and good and enough for me. So how I should be followed? That is the next biggest headache for us to be uh, follow the things actually. So you want to be create the milestone wise. In the milestone wise, we have to be create our schedule saying that these are all drawings. It's fall on that this. So in that, whether who that next to this task peoples, whether they said as per my requirement is coming or not, you have to be ensured our there is a roles is available. Same like if you say there is an information manager and BIM manager, BIM coordinator, okay, then next to BIM supervisors and BIM runners. So like that, there is a stages. Each and every stage peoples need to be taken care by one scenarios. Okay. So this all we can able to do here only. You can able to see that volume strategy, that volume systems is the and the level locations. These are all you can able to identify and you need to be mentioned here. Okay. Each and every model, what is that I giving exchange formats. And what is that? Maybe there is so many stakeholders is there. Maybe you can say that I am a L&T, I am a maybe BCG or maybe X and Y Z or ABC. You can maybe need to be mention it, and what volume strategy here I'm using, whether I'm using the duct systems or whether I'm using a wall systems or maybe I am using the window systems or maybe I'm toilet systems. So you have to be mention a volume strategy and levels, whether in this particular volume strategy is in which level is relevant to this. And the same like the type and role, the numbers you have to be mentioned. Okay. So, and again, this which all I'm developing this based on asset management need to be followed. So then you have to be used for your classifications, or otherwise you don't want. That is the reason even our Sparsh's futures also saying that is in optional only. Okay, and the data exchange, how I should exchange to this one. So that we can say that the protocols. Okay, you see here, this is what if you want to be tracked, even including that model element, you can able to track. So by the way, you have to be create your MIDP, and you want to be anyway the responsible matrix will be available. That means the protocol we call actually once that designer is designed. So whether will be go to supervision or maybe will be go to my modeler. Once the model is done, should be my BIM coordinator need to be checked that whether it's as per BIM strategy they've done it and the standards are followed, and whether all that references are they shown or not. Okay, these are all they need to be checked, and element wise, that means the model as per the requirement without overlapping. Why? Because if overlapping, if I'm taking the tomorrow, taking this quantity, all the overlaps, one overlap maybe 1 cubic meter. If I'm going to that 100 into 100 cubic meter, cost is increasing. So these are all we have to be ensured, and duplications. These are all they will be start to checking. So we have to be mentioned all the details in this actually. Okay. And if you say here, this examining, that's what I'm saying, that this all the informations we have to be follow it for information standard. That means the check availabilities of reference informations or we shared. If I'm giving to my structural people, giving to architecture, whether what are the architecture requirements details are I feed it. So after only we have to be share our model to shared to that architecture team or MEP team. If I am consulting maybe inside one station, so in the station, after whatever things is required, if I'm going to giving that architecture team, MEP team, so architecture need to be ensured that I should be create my walls, I should be create my zoom zones, and I created my room requirements, and I'm created my false ceilings like that. Should be enough details want to be while creating our MEP peoples. So these are all details minimum is required to be start to create my MEP. So that is the concept. Here most of the teams are using the central team concept, that means the central model concept we call. Okay, that means while they're creating, they start to sharing. So maybe 50% of the model they're done, and that MEP people start to using of that 50%. So they maybe can say that here this issue still is there. Maybe you are considering while you are making your building. So that is more help us to be while you are going the central modeling concept. Okay, same like the productions, and we are going to the productions and following this information breakdown structure. Anyway, this all we updated in our PIDP. We say that minimum 250 size of equipment, sorry, model size should be there. Why? Because if you are increasing, tomorrow the people couldn't able to open that model, and taking time to be 20 minutes, half an hour to be open the model, very difficult, right? So if I want to be per day some 5 or 6 models I need to be open, so there is 2 hours to 3 hours need to open itself will be gone. If there is a big airport is there is a huge different buildings is there. If say maybe terminal building, if I'm taking the terminal building, Again, that problem, if you constructed, that means you are model in the one model, one drawings, so very, very difficult to be open. And if you start to adding or you are passing to that other team, they also facing the same issue. Why? Because they want to be overlay on our drawings only. They can able to make. If say architecture done in entire terminal done in one file, okay. And further, that file I have to be taken care and need to be do for my MVP. Then they will be struggle on that. Okay. So we have to be follow our breakdown structure. That's what we call actually volume strategy in earlier. Now they as per ISO container breakdown structure they bring here, and collaborative resource. That's what I said. No, if I am using a central component concept, should be collaborate. What that architecture is doing should be known at MEP guy. So once these two people start to talk, that errors will minimal, and that is easy. You can able to achieve our project within that what we are thinking, and less time is enough to be go ahead as well. Okay. The protocols. The protocol means what actually? What stage if is there I have to be give to my MEP? What are all what type of extensions I want to be give? So these are all only we call the protocols. We have to be create the strategy and saying that if I am 50%, I can able to share the model to my MEP. The MEP drawings once is 50% is completed, maybe I can share to give my plumbing. Like that, we have to be create on it. Okay. And entire our protocol, not only that design part. Why? Because I'm just saying design, so I'm just taking the design part. That is the reason I'm just saying the design is it. Apart from who are all the peoples is there, we have to be connect and start to giving our models to them to be share, and they also prepare the based on our requirements and on the project requirements. They will start to create the documents. Okay. So this all I just coming to say this only. Again, if you see here, once the model is done, which is I said, right, there is a generated information. That means if I'm using EIR, what are all the project requirement is raised from the project. So what are all stakeholders, what are the stakeholders requirements, whether I'm fulfilled or not. So these are all need to be taken care while the modeler. So once they're done, we have to be Q check, that means quality check. We have to be assurance to be checked whether they're properly fitted or not. So for that, so many softwares are available. You maybe can go and check it out through that software. That means you have to be create one standardized shop list for that, and we can able to feed into the software. The automatically will be checked. Even also we can cross check through in that things. Okay, and the informations, if I am approving whether based on my protocol this approval is or not. If the protocol, that is the protocol is actually really very required for that long big projects. Why? Because I don't know whether I could able to share that model or not. Okay, right? If you share, maybe tomorrow somebody will be say that who giving authority to share this models. You don't have the answers to be say, right? So if there is the protocol, if we created, so this is a protocol you have to be followed. If you are done it, you can authorize to be shared. And even that authorizations, there is a limitations of the role configurations. You have to be tell that maybe the BIM coordinator having authorized to be shared this model. So like that, we have to be mentioned in the protocols and to be ahead action. Okay. And anyway, that model review happened by our team. And this is what we have to be sticking to our peoples. That means who the modeler and the designers and checkers or maybe BIM managers. They are missing out still this deliverable details. You have to be sticking our friend. It should be every day you have to be show that, see that. So this is my drawing model, and when I have to be delivered on this model. Why? Because if every day, if you are seeing this data in our front of us, automatically we will be get awareness, and we will be get that I am a delay. Maybe you are not delay. Maybe your design couldn't give that your data to you. So because of that, you couldn't able to achieve it. At the end of the day, we have to be take our responsibilities. Need to be take responsibilities. Okay, then only that milestones we can achieve it. or otherwise what will happen, they may be given neck movement and saying that you have to be finished. So because of that, our people will sit in that day and night to be complete. That is not that sense, right? We have to be proactively need to be think and to be start to delivering the server models. Okay, so these are also we have to be taken care. That keyword checks, I just giving that 2 or 3 scenarios. Maybe that internal review and our production team need to be reviewed. Further is a team lead need to be. That's what I'm saying. The first coordinator need to be checked, or maybe checker need to be checked. Next coordinator need to be checked. Finally, our client or consultant, they will be start to reviewing and giving approval for models. Okay. So this is, I just showing that approval process, how many processes there. These are all process help you to be create our common data environment. While we are going to the common data environment, I will pass to the model in that platform only. So once I done, so how should we fall onto that one process? Whether I should be use for that 3 to 6 step approval or 2-step approval or maybe 3 to 4 step approval. Based on the project requirement, you have to be decided and to be provided. So just after model you are checking, you have to be ensure it. Okay. Once you submitted to this client, so client is what they will be doing, start to checking as per their requirement, whether these people's analyze and done is done the model, they will check it out. So based on that, they will be give that comments and giving approvals based on that only. Okay, that is our approval drawing. Once the approve, that drawing is maturity to ready to send to site to construct that. Okay. Maybe you can ask your questions. Maybe I can ready to answer your all questions. I believe you are maybe little bit get some idea of what really problem facing in our digital that means BIM implementation when in the projects.
So, Mr. Raja, it was a wonderful presentation. I have some question which probably you
Yes, sir.
can answer. You mentioned about this projects which doesn't have this employer information requirement, EIR, and all those things, right?
Exactly, sir.
So, how did you come out of that kind of a scenario?
Exactly. See, now even presently, if you say L&T handling more than 920 projects as of now. Okay, in that maybe we don't have, maybe in the sufficient, maybe 10 projects only, maybe we have a year. Rest all projects, it's in year. Okay, so that's what I said. We should not be keep app. We have to create our project strategy. That means if there is a EIR is there, maybe you are aware, right? That is the main principle practice of ISO 19650 is there. Maybe our people's also shown that OIR, EIR, EIR, EIM like that. There is a picture. Maybe I forgot to show you. One second, maybe I can open.
No, it has been shown. No, it has been shown to every other.
Yes, exactly. All the people are maybe shown that, right? You have to be decided on that. Okay. What I'm showing that in additionally in that maybe second.
Because not all the clients are
Most of the people this slide
well
will be
informed
used.
about this.
Exactly, right?
Yes.
So we have to be create like this strategy. This is just they're giving that overall idea what you have to be do. But I don't want to be do for this, right? Why? Because I don't have first of all EIR. Why I want to be follow this, right? Like this, we have to be created what the requirement in the projects. Whether that's what I said. Whether in that project procurement taking the delay based on the past experience, okay, or maybe construction abilities taking delay for me taking additions, or maybe because of the safety issues I couldn't able to achieve the earlier. Like that we have to be listed out. Based on that we have to be create that strategy saying that in this project I am following this plan structures and I want to be check here for the quantity one. So you just model it, it's up to that is enough. We don't want to be entire thing. And if you create the entire thing, the people, that means the resources requirement high, and my cost is also so put up is high. And our management next time, if you said they're not ready to listen this one, whatever you said, they won't be listen. Why? Because they don't want beyond that they will be used, right? If there no any requirement of asset information, I don't want to be spent on that. I don't want to be purchased on that particular softwares. I don't want to be purchased of that hardware. I don't want that peoples. That means the resource I don't want. I don't want to give that skill to give that peoples. But you should be know that if there is a requirement coming from that client, so we have to be do that. So what you need to give, you have to be practice of that all that scenarios once, and keep that strategy report, keep ready whenever we don't know, right, when maybe we'll be rise it from our day and day will be changed. Suddenly our India became, our government can announce tomorrow onwards, whoever constructing above 3 floors, you have to be submitted with BIM model. Who knows that tomorrow maybe that our CMD can ask. Presently, if you are Singapore, if you are passing that above the 3 floors, you have to be submitted with 3D models. If in UK, you have to be do same the like. So in that time, we don't want to be take time to be learn how to do, okay, and how to be implement. Again, it's we are in running in the race, we are in the beginning, so we should be know, but we don't want to be followed. That's what I'm coming to say. It's I think it's clear for you, right?
Yes. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Any other questions is there maybe?
Any other question you can type in the chat, or you can ask Mr. Raja. Otherwise, yeah, any questions? Okay. So thank you so much, Mr. Raja. You know, with your busy schedule, I mean, Mr. Raja is actually running between the meetings, and he's kind enough to come down and then share his experiences with us. So I thank you again one more time, and thank you so much. It was a wonderful session and very informative. Our next session will start at 2:30, which is going to be by Dr. Amarnath on the experiences of BIM implementation in various projects. Yeah, I think Venkatesh has mentioned that they don't have privilege to unmute. I think he can unmute. You can unmute. Venkatesh,
Yeah, now
you can unmute.
now previously it was like restricted by host, something like that. Okay. So
Yeah,
Rajan
you can
sir,
unmute. Venkatesh, unmute yourself.
Yeah, maybe I can try it out actually.
yeah. Now it's fine, sir.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, Rajan sir, you told that India is not enough mature to implement BIM, and said the peoples are not ready to take digital platform. So what are the
Exactly.
reasons that you thought is maybe
See,
is that
because so there is only one reason. One for they have to be initially need to be spend money. If you see in our curve, initially we have to be time taken process and money we have to be spent. Okay, and our client, that means our owners, they're not ready to spend that money. So that is the problem. Why? Because our client, our owners, they are trying to get day one onwards. I need profit. Okay, that mentality is still in our India, right? Not only India, even wherever you can go, whether the day one I'm started to be implementing something, what benefit I will be getting. But the BIM, it won't be get in the day one. That is the only one biggest problem. Why? Because once you are creating the 3D models, that means the design, it will be take the curve is high. Once you start to reusing on that same model in construction and your procurement and your BIM for safety, then you will be able to get that benefit. Why? Because they know any recreations you are reusing only. Okay, there you are get benefits. So this is the problem, but our people's not even ready to wait for that design to complete.
Yeah, yes, sir. But my question is that in a competitive world of construction, we manage the very strong privacy, the execution process. These peoples are willing to showcase their strategies and the execution process to the digital platform? They may feel insecure in that kind of. Is that reason that I felt like that? Is there? Am I wrong?
No, not insecure. That is also there is a one of the part of that. Maybe what you said, if there is a design peoples is that maybe their delays they don't want to be bring out. Okay, the same things actually there is a construction people they don't want to be bring their minus to be show that saying that we couldn't able to construct this one. We want to be analyzed need to be do. They don't want to be tell these things sir. So in our beam openly will be show this if you done these are the scenarios you want to be that means here you are falling on the delay if I'm going to the digital transmissions if the clearly will be shown to the management saying that this design is under delay for that releasing this all the diseases models and because of this your milestones will be behind it that means this past that you couldn't able to achieve it so this is the one of the reason which is I'm just seen here and it's more actually transparent 100% we can see what is there in that future maybe some people don't want to be sure that also that is the reason behind actually.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Is that feasibility studies required for to implement any kind of project? So, what are the parameters we need to consider in that?
I
To
didn't get you
implement,
once again please.
yeah, if you implement
Uh-huh.
one project as a BIM, so is that required to make a feasibility report, like whether to go for the BIM or not, something like that? What are the parameters we need to consider in that area?
So that
Strategies.
is what I said. No, maybe we
Yeah.
have to be check it out first. See whatever we actually bring start to implementing, and this also maybe a good point you asked. I forgot to tell. So what our people's making mistake? No, they said okay, we can start to be you can start to implement on the people. Our people's will be sit and die and create and implement it, and the finally the of the way maybe the people say that which is you making the delay okay but whether you have an answer whether you are going delay or in the right time very difficult so whenever you start that the transmission happening you should be having the traditional way what they did what is the time taken of this all the process you have to be taken that based on that you have to be accordingly to you need to be planned and you need to be implemented if they say that if I want to be using the bin it's taking creating the model for the 4 days say in the traditional is maybe the 2 days why it's going to the 4 days you have to be analyzed that and whether I have to be bring some automations or maybe I need to be used for some dynamo or maybe I can use for that existing model something is that I can reuse here you have to be think like this okay this is the way we need to be start to analyze and we can easily can give that project kick-off date say this is what the traditional way and this is what we are planning to achieve it and bring it in the implementations okay then it's in more clarity blaming games will only come and they are ready to accept us right.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions maybe or maybe I can wind up this section.
Yes, sir. I think, yeah, there is no other question. There is some question in the chat box if you can see. I think it's just a feedback. Yeah. Okay, sir.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And thanks for your time. And I hope we will be in touch. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Definitely. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye. So participants, please find the feedback form here and please don't ask feedback forms in the WhatsApp group because they will not give you. I have given them instruction not to share it in the WhatsApp group. And another instruction is please do attend on time and then mute your mic. Some of the information that I would like to tell again and again. And again, I'm reminding you 2:30 p.m. only we are starting today's session, the afternoon session. and which is going to be done by Dr. Amarnath. Yeah, thank you so much. See you and have a nice lunch.
Well, so this is again Amarnath. I will be handling the session today on BIM uses for buildings and infrastructure projects. Like, well, we hear that BIM many times for buildings. It has been a lot of drive for infrastructure sector in the recent days because the data management has become very critical, even the infrastructure projects. So today's discussion will be focusing on in and around what to expect in BIM for buildings and infrastructure projects, and how do we expect it, and how do we strategically make decisions on the way forward for BIM implementations at projects. Because at a whole, it's very much important to make a strategical decisions at an organizations or a projects on the way forward for digital data management. So I also volunteer for several national initiatives, currently serving as a president for India BIM. I'm also chairman for a BIM vertical in a forum of critical utility services, part of a forum of human rights and anti-corruption as a national secretary, part of a Bureau of Indian Standards as a panel member for construction management committee, involved in a few universities to support the digital education support on BIM lines, as a board of studies member in Vellore, Symbiosis, SRM, KIT, and as a guest faculty for roughly 30-40 universities, and also involved in strategic coordinations with the global and local partners in terms of NGOs, forums, ministries to influence that digital transformation to happen. Well, you can connect with me with this number. This is my WhatsApp number, and also this is my email. Anything to discuss on these topics further, yeah, please welcome. I don't know how to hide this. Hide the floating meeting controls. Okay. So getting into the topic now, because this is very important topic for you. I think in the morning you had gone through the topic on a common data environment. And well, common data environment is very much important for across the life cycle. It's a one common data environment where you have a BIM model and all the participants able to access the data from that model. Some people may add the data, some people use the data, some people perform the analysis, or different activities will be performed. But that's where the common data environment makes people keep connected. Well, getting into the topic now as a BIM, which is a information modeling in a building or infrastructure sector projects, how do we go with it? Well, we all know about the maturity stages, right? Level 0, 1, 2, 3. If you are part of yesterday's session, maybe you are listening to me again on the same topic on this slide. The most important thing is many projects are delivered with BIM in building and infrastructure sector globally and locally. But what is the kind of maturity in these projects? Some projects are level 1, some projects are level 2, some projects are planning to go for level 3. Maybe they're kickstarting their journey for a level 3 steps. But it's important to know what is the kind of capability the organizations has to deliver the BIM projects. No matter it can be from architecture, engineering, or construction, or operation, or a PMC, or a consultants, or a client, or a facility maintenance, or other parties, critical utility services. The most important thing is how matured is my project in terms of BIM. That is very much important for a client to measure. And that's where this picture will give a clarity. As we all know that level 0 means no BIM. Level 1 means for a design BIM. Level 2 means BIM for design and construction. Level 3 means for BIM for design, construction, operation, demolition, and recycling, everything. Level 1 means organization specific standards. Level 2 means at least national specific standards. Level 3 means you have national and also the global standards based on the project perspectives. And level 1 means only design teams are very much aligned and capable on BIM journey. Level 2 means people from design and construction both are enabled for their activities through BIM. Level 3 means all the organizations involved in the project delivery are enabled with the BIM journey. Level 1 means softwares are not so well aligned. There are 2D, 3D, and all these things. Level 2 means you have all BIM technologies coming into picture. Level 3 means all of these BIM technologies are cloud-based. So you no need to install and do things. It's all cloud-based, connected from anywhere and any device. So these are the different things which are, if you're looking for a drive from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 in terms of project maturity. So let us understand, how do we expect BIM in a project from a client perspective? If I'm looking as a client, I need a BIM in the project. First of all, why do I need? Because I get some better data management and people can realize the return on investment. And when you implement BIM with a maturity level of 1, that means the return on investment is lesser than what you can get in level 2 implementation or level 3 implementation. So you cannot just say that I am implementing BIM, I don't get returns. If you're misimplementing BIM, that means with a wrong approach or without a strategies in place, you may also not get return on investment. It may become, irrespectful work with more investments happening. So that is a situation which many people need to understand. It's not just implementing, it's about the mature way of implementing BIM in any projects. And clients need to understand what companies are capable on delivering what, and what should I expect from my partners who are going to deliver the services for me as a project. So this is an overall discussion, and I will be discussing more of a menu card. Like if I'm a client, what are the items I can put in my RFP or a employees information requirement to ask for a BIM in the projects? And if I am a designer, a contractor, or a facility maintenance or project management consultant, what are the things I should build my capabilities to provide services to the client expectations? My discussions today will be in and around these areas. Well, to be frank, without having a proper strategies in place, no matter it is at a market level, like saying India has its own strategies for the way forward for digital transformation journey, or a particular organization should have its own strategy for taking the digital transformation journey, or a project level, you should have a strategy to make sure you're delivering what client is expecting and all the parties are getting benefits. So strategy setting is of very high importance, and without which your investments may take a toss. So looking into the strategic perspective, I want to have a discussion. Keep all aside your technologies. Keep your technologies from any tech vendors aside. Coming into the topic of BIM and overall data management, and how do we set strategies to build a capability or to expect a capabilities from a service providers? Let us discuss on those topics. Well, if I'm saying I want to do the modeling, or I want to do the time planning or a cost planning or a safety or a quality or a procurement or a logistics or a common data environment setup or a scan to BIM or different types of analysis, maybe earthquake, wind, energy, lighting, solar. There are several kind of things, activities that can be performed with BIM. And several of these items, we call it as a BIM use cases. And depending on your clients, if you go to the very matured clients, they ask for very well set of BIM users, what they need for the projects. Which half matured or not understanding BIM, they have set of BIM users they're asking in their projects. So let us take that as BIM users. To activate each of this, if I want to do modeling in a project or a time planning or any of these things, first of all, you need to know, why should I do it? Because without having a reason, why should I do it? First of all, because it's an investment, it's a cost, implementations, cost on software, it's a cost on skill development, it's a cost on workflow, it's a efforts, it's a time, it may be also rework, which may be if you're doing a wrong implementation. So a lot of cost is involved if you want to do any of these things. Blindly getting into saying that I will do 3D, 4D, 5D doesn't make any sense. It's a strategic approach. What should be required for my project? If you expect completely everything on a BIM, right, and then you are investing a lot as a client, then if you don't use it, later you will also have a challenge. So for activating any of these use cases, you need to understand the key benefits of it. What is the kind of manpower? Because when we say as a project, it's a holistic approach. You have different organizations coming together with different manpower, different from a procurement, tendering and procurement, contracts, legal, design, execution, safety, quality, form work. Different departments are involved, and then the green building certification agencies and quality assurance companies. There are several parties getting in. So which are the different stakeholders need to be involved in activating each of these BIM users? what is the kind of IT infrastructure? What kind of softwares do I need? What kind of hardware do I need? What kind of network do I need? All these things to be planned out well. Skill development, because when we are speaking about new things like a digital journey, obviously skill development is part and parcel of the transformation journey. Different stakeholders in an organization or a project need to be upskilled to match the BIM journey for the projects. So it's an investment. Before making an investment, we should have a clarity. Why are we investing it? What is the benefits I can get after investing it? And how do I get it delivered? So today I will be discussing on these use cases, which is categorized under 8 subdivisions, which is across the life cycle. The first is, what do you think about a project? You want to collect the existing condition, right? Existing status, which you may be doing by surveying or looking into the current site location, orientations, and the kind of water, electric, and other pipelines which is available towards that region. What is the neighboring facilities you have, neighboring public and private transportations and XYZ things, right? So you want to collect the existing condition data. So that we have as one of the category in the menu card. So in that, the first and foremost is project site and infrastructure modeling. So here you usually do the existing ground surface model of the project site and any occupying or relevant structures and utilities affecting the projects. Okay, so you may be using different equipments like 3D scanners, drone photogrammetry, and you may need a BIM workstations, and you may have a surveying team, design team, and a BIM team involved in activating this use case. You may have multiple technologies like SketchUp, Revit, Civil 3D, Navisworks. Some of these will be used for this activity. And the BIM model, what you will be developing with a level of detail of 200 to 300 kind of scenario. Nikunj, I'm audible, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you. So the next one within that existing condition capture, the next one is surrounding site modeling. Obviously, you have collected on the site what is the status. You also want to collect what is the neighboring facilities and things, activities. So this includes the data capture on the area, buildings and infrastructure such as roads, bridges, railroads, subways, streetcar lines adjacent to the project site, necessary for project analysis, review, and decision support. So because when you have a digital data, you will be able to use it for several activities. Maybe this is part of the GA's activity also. So this usually starts in the strategic definition phase itself, because you need to plan out the projects. Here again, you use the same kind of scanners, photogrammetry using drones and workstations, and you have a surveying, design, and BIM teams. And set of technologies. I don't want to go deeper into this because it's a very short duration of 1 hour, 15 minutes or so. So let us give you some brief perspective, because there are roughly 50 of these items I need to show you so that you get a broader perspective. So BIM is not just limited to so and so, because this is what the mature clients are asking globally. They are asking these things in their EIR, that they need so and so items, and they clearly specify what kind of teams to be involved, what kind of technologies and equipment should be there, what kind of LOD model deliverable should be there, and the workflows to be involved. Based on that, the BIM execution plans get developed and people get aligned and everyone together sign off. A lot of activities involved as a initial stages of project implementation. The next one is existing modeling. Exterior modeling for existing conditions. If there is already some existing facility, you want to do the renovation, or you want to attach some other facility to that existing facility for a new construction, old and new construction merging together. So you may need to collect some data. Here you do a spatially accurate model of existing spaces, building system components, and equipment are modeled here. So here you have a scanners and the workstations where you can collect the point clouds and then convert the point clouds into the BIM model. And you have a design and BIM team and the surveying team as a part of this journey in this use case. And you have some softwares from different vendors. Whatever the softwares which I'm mentioning, you don't get it limited to that. I'm just giving an examples. In fact, you have softwares from different tech vendors like Autodesk, Bentley, Trimble, Dassault, Bexel, Akka, Onuma Systems, Economas, Invicara. Roughly there are 30 to 40 tech vendors available in the market to provide you different BIM solutions. And it's again a strategic approach to make a decision on open BIM, closed BIM, because we are looking on an overall project perspective. And then comes a BIM model at a LOD 300 at existing condition modeling capture. That's what client would ask many of the times. The next is interior modeling. For example, you have some IT facility or some facility already. You want to do some interior changes. You have usually IT companies do that every 10 years or so for changes in their interiors. So how do you do that? First, you have to visualize how it should be, and then right. So you have some scanners, which is like hand-rolled scanners, or you can take it through the indoors like Navis indoor viewers. So it will collect the point cloud and it will be able to give the accuracy level so that you can do the interior planning using that model and then showcase and take the approvals for the changes. So here you have a design and BIM teams along with the surveying team. And the main role is more of architecture and engineering team here. And you have softwares like Revit Suite and few others. And with LOD model 300 can be developed here. And geotechnical modeling. Well, it is a visual dimensionally accurate models of geotechnical analysis report supporting project scope and requirements. Obviously, geotechnical data can also be captured into the BIM model because what we are speaking is about digitalization. Digitalization of neighboring ecosystem and also the facility that is to be built. You develop the model and use it for different types of analysis and data management. So in that perspective, here you have a project design team, BIM manager, and geotechnical engineers especially play a major role here. And a BIM model with LOD of 100 to 200 can be developed here with a CAD with 3D overlays, Google Earth with 3D overlays, photographs and SketchUp will be gathered here. Sorry. So next is site modeling for horizontal constructions. Well, site modeling here includes modeling of roadways, raised bridges, walkways, and transportation structures such as pedestrian tunnels, which are examples of horizontal modeling needs. Because you also need to capture what is the kind of horizontal structures on the particular facilities and then develop the modeling of that along with your actual building model development. Here the LOD will be roughly for general descriptions, it may be LOD 200 to 350. Horizontal structures, it may be 300 to 350 level of detail. The next category, first category, what we saw is about existing data capture, right? The next category is about design authoring. That means you are developing a BIM model out of whatever softwares you will have. The first is architectural model development, which is a very basic to start with for the structure and MEP. Here you can kickstart with LOD 200 to 300. You have a architectural team, design team, and a BIM managers. Mainly you have a workable workstations for developing these models. You may be using different softwares for modeling. Some of them like Revit from Autodesk or Ecosim from Bentley or Archicad from, Graphisoft, Archicad from Graphisoft and few other technologies. The next is when you have architectural modeling done, you may also look into space, accessibility, and circulation requirements modeling. Because in a particular facility, you may have a restricted zones, publicly accessible zones, and different kind of things. And you may have a different spaces to be relocated. So before getting into construction, you have to look what is the kind of space, accessibility, and circulation requirements which is required after construction, because you cannot think on rework. So BIM can support you on those lines. The model, you can do the model space, circulation areas, and accessibility using accessibility standards and consistent modeling methods. Then you can do the quality audits on that. So here you need a simple BIM workstations again, and you have architectural team, design team, and the BIM manager, and using some softwares like SketchUp, Revit, and Edificious. And the model details will be like LOD 200 to 300. The next one is structural modeling. This is mainly for structural engineers. So this is a process of generating the structural model of the structural systems of an existing and proposed designs. So here the main role is played by the structural engineers along with the BIM managers. So you may be using softwares like Tekla structures if it's especially for steel structures, Edificious, Edilus, Revit structure. These are some of the solutions available. And the BIM model will be with LOD 300 plus. Next one, mechanical modeling, which is mainly for mechanical engineers, which is mainly on heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. In mechanical modeling use case, a model of MEP system for decision Just a minute. So model support for decision support and analysis made ready for detailing and fabrication. So here you have, because it's more of a fabrication related data which is required further, because all this model what you develop for mechanical, you should be able to share with the fabrication team for actual manufacturing. And if manufactured with wrong dimensions, you cannot assemble it. So LOD 400 is like a need of an hour situation in mechanical modeling. And you may be using softwares like Revit, MEP. Then for coordination, you can use Navisworks or Solibri. And you can use Edificious MEP for modeling as BIM for a common data environment and so on. This usually happens during the phase 3 of the REBA, which is spatial coordination. That starts at that phase. And the next is plumbing and fire protection modeling. Obviously, this is for plumbing and fire protection activities. You have to have the digital models of it. And the main role is by plumbing and fire protection team, along with the BIM manager and the BIM team and the architecture team to coordinate. You have LOD 200 to 500, because again, it's more of a, you have to install and also record the data. You may have different softwares like Edificious, MEP, Revit MEP, and there are plenty of them. And the main thing you need to look in is, does the data from this technology, what you use, will be able to interoperable with other softwares? Because we are discussing of plenty of softwares when you want to implement BIM in the projects. And the next is electrical alarm systems modeling. This is again the same way to understand the kind of positioning of these electrical alarm systems and developing the digital models of these to put it into the BIM model. Here you have an electrical design team, BIM managers and architecture team, and with BIM model with LOD 200 to 300. Again, the similar kind of solutions are. A basic workstation is a requirement. I'm just discussing about how do you, what are the key requirements to do any of these use cases? Because at the end, these are the items which are coming in the client RFPs, right? And how do we do that? Not every company in the global market and the local market are capable of delivering all of these yet. They're all, most of them are under digital transformation journey, and they're learning the way forward for this. And a strategical decision making on these things will really support the way forward. BIM learning is not just pitching into one software and learning how to do the model or planning on things. That's a very immature way of learning BIM. But if you understand the overall perspective on the project management, so you will realize like it's a strategic decision which is very much important. Interiors modeling, again, here you have interiors design team, architectural team, and the BIM manager to coordinate together. You need a BIM workstations, and you have a softwares like 3ds Max for rendering, Edificious, Revit architecture, and a few other software, Luminous. There are many of those solutions which will help you with better and realistic rendering and so on. And also you can connect with AR/VR devices for better client walkthroughs. So here the basic requirement is LOD 300 at least for interior modeling. And this also activity starts at a spatial coordination phase of the project. The next category, so we look into two categories first. One is existing data capture. Second is design authoring. That is, you are developing the BIM model. And the first phase was more about GIS kind of thing. The second is more of having the BIM model. The third is, once you have a BIM model, how do you use it for different types of analysis and reporting? So here you have a space and program validation. In this use case, what you do is you have the BIM file, specifically spaces and bounding elements, including floors and stories, is analyzed using the model checking softwares. That means you may look the duplications, or you may see the floating items, you may see the repetitions, or looking into the volume spaces and all these things, you can do the quality check. So you have architecture team and the BIM manager here to coordinate, and you need a BIM workstation always here. And you may be using softwares like Triligence, Affinity, Solibri Model Checker, Edificious, because you have to set the rule sets in this software saying that this is a kind of rules. And the software will run the clash check against those rules, and it will show you the notifications where all the clashes are there. And then as a team, you can resolve it. And the BIM model with LOD 200 and 300 is very much important here to do this kind of check. The next is design options. Obviously, when you have a client need to have a better understanding on what are the kind of different design solutions I can get. So you may need to show him 2 to 3 design options. So to do that, you may develop a basic LOD model with 100 to 300, or so that the client can make a decision what is the design he needs. And usually the kind of activities performed by the architecture team and the BIM managers. You have Revit MEP, Navisworks, Solibri, Edificious, as BIM.platform, this kind of solutions. And then the model checking for program compliance. This is the main thing for the quality checks, quality audits. So model checking is a rule-based activity that automates a model review for design program, model quality, data, and some code conformance. The next one is clash detection, which many of us know. Within clash also, it's not just a physical clash between two elements. It may be a space clash. That means this same space is required for maintenance of two things, or construction of two things, or installation of two things. Or there is a physical clash between two things which cannot happen actually on the site. And there may be kind of time deviations, and also the space, minimum space requirements, which is not left. All of this can be considered as a clash detection. Clash detection is a primary method to minimize the interferences between building elements using clash detection softwares. So many of the time you may be using softwares like Navisworks, but frankly speaking, as BIM.platform, Solibri model checker are very much aligned for this clash detection solutions. It can go very detailed clash analysis, and it will help you to avoid a lot of rework on the site. And here mainly the kind of people are design team, BIM coordinators, and the BIM managers. And reasonably, to do this clash check, you should have at least LOD 300 model. Before that, if it's less than 300, I don't think you will have a proper clash check done. And this starts at a spatial coordination will be carried out further for other phases also, including for construction phase, because whatever you have planned will not be the same in the end of the day also. So time clash also may occur. Structural analysis. Before we discussed about structural modeling, now you have the structural model. You can use the same for structural analysis, where you use this for structural design to determine the fitness for use. You have a design team, BIM manager, and the structural team here. And you can use softwares like Edilus, Revit structures, and few of this. Again, the BIM model with LOD 300 will really make a sense to go with it. Maintenance clearance space. This modeling covers major equipment and elements requiring defined access or maintenance space. What does this mean? There is several equipments you may be installing. When you want to maintain them, you need a minimum space, right? And you want to make sure that minimum space is left in the design before you do the installation later. After installation, you cannot move the equipment or do the changes very easily. So you have BIM softwares can help you to do this maintenance clear space check. So the red color transparent boxes you see is the kind of minimum space required for maintaining those equipments. So you have a design team, BIM managers, and the BIM coordinators to support on this journey. It's always good to have LOD 400 models here, because when we're speaking about equipments, LOD 400 is where you get some data on that. The next is cost estimation, which is very important activity, because at the end, everything boils down to cost. What is the kind of investment to what is the kind of return on investment? And what is the kind of cash flow which is required for the project? Because if clients have a clarity on that, so-and-so quarters or so-and-so dates, I need so-and-so cash flow, it becomes much easier for a better cash flow management. And also will give a transparency and clarity for other participants also, the kind of way forward. Cost estimation uses BIM spaces, major building elements with historic square foot costing data, project type, region, and construction type to calculate the budgetary estimates. So what happens here is you have LOD 200 to 350 model. The more detailed, matured your model is, the more detailed the cost estimates you will get. So you will have a planning team, estimator, and the BIM managers. We also call this as a 5D BIM. So once you have the BIM model with exact quantities, you can extract those quantities and then multiply with the schedule of rates to get the cost calculations. Your softwares like Primus, Edificious, Vico Office. Some people just use Microsoft Excel to extract the quantities and do manual calculations. There are different things available. The next is quantity takeoff. How do you do cost estimation? First, you need to extract the quantities. So any software you're using like Revit or so on, you can extract the quantities from that and do the cost calculations. The next category. So we saw the first three categories. One is existing condition data capture. Second is design authoring, developing the BIM model. Then doing the analysis and analysis. That was the third category. Now we are looking into the fourth category, which is more on energy and sustainability. So the first and foremost here is energy modeling, sun studies, and daylighting. So when we speak about this, BIM softwares can help you for doing the this sun studies and daylighting and so energy analysis. So it can help you to improve the daylighting in design, to understand the sun shading needs, and also balance between the daylight and artificial lights to support the space usefulness. So here you have architecture team, design team, and the BIM managers and the sustainability engineers. And you have softwares like Eco Designer Star, Edificious, Vasari, Ecotech, Energy Analysis, Green Building Studio. Plenty of them are available. And minimum model LOD will be 200, and beyond that will also give a better details on energy analysis. The next is rapid energy modeling. When you don't have enough data to do the energy analysis, proper energy analysis, then you go with this REM, rapid energy modeling. It is a streamlined process for simplified simulation that quickly and with minimal data from existing building conditions develops an energy analysis. You don't need much of data here, but even with limited data, you can do the energy check. So next, mechanical analysis, which is more about virtual testing and balancing of the design model to support sustainable building system design and analysis, calculate native heating and cooling analysis that is built into the MEP softwares, right? So here you have softwares like Train, Trace, DOE-based analysis, ITFest. The client would expect at least LOD 300 model for this kind of activity. You have a design and BIM managers. And then the green building certification and reporting. If you look into our Indian perspective, we have IGBC, TERI, and also LEED, most commonly followed. So how do we use this BIM over there? You can help the automation of certification procedures. You have the data captured, so it can help the auditors, and also for visualizing what would be the exact credits that I can gain, what kind of ratings I can get after the construction. That prediction can also be done very well, which is done manually before, and now we will have with the data available, you can do that very well. You need a green building coordinator, BIM managers, and architecture team here. The next is lighting analysis, which is very common use case to have green certification compliance and also for energy performance and comfort. Here also you have set of technologies and people, similar kind of things what was involved in the previous use case. And this happens during concept design of the project. Next is a system analysis. So this is where BIM is used to capture the building geometry and characteristics needed to conduct aspects of energy performance analysis and support contracting process. So here you have a design team and a BIM manager with LOD 200 model data, and using the same kind of softwares like Ecotech, IES, Eco Designer, Edificious, and so on. The next category. So we looked into existing data, then looked into modeling, then analysis, and then energy and sustainability. Now coming into the fifth category, constructability reviews and coordination. What does this? This is more on a construction phase activities. So BIM room for coordination meetings. Obviously, on the side, there's a lot of coordination meetings happening. And what happens is with the CAD drawings, people cannot visualize and everyone can be on the same board, cannot be on the same board. So that's where you can set up a BIM meeting rooms where you have a more visualization capability and everyone are able to visualize and walk through the BIM model and make a quicker decisions on the clashes. So here you have a BIM workstations, BIM room setup is required for the project sites, AR/VR devices are required. You have architectural, engineering, construction managers, general contractors, subtrades, BIM managers, and coordinators taking part in the coordination meetings. And you may be using softwares like usbim.platform, BIM 360, or a BIM site, or a Week Office, Tekla, VU, depending on the requirements. The next one is digital details and mockups. Once you have the BIM model, you will be able to extract the digital details, which is for design coordination reviews, constructability reviews, shop drawings, construction documents, energy and performance reviews, change management reports, cost estimates, value analysis reports. All those activities comes under this use case. This usually starts with the technical design phase of the project. You have BIM model with LOD 200 to 300. You have a design, construction managers, and BIM managers. You have softwares like Primus, IFC, Edificious, this kind of technologies to support this. These are open BIM solution, what I'm saying in the last. Logistic planning, which is more about activity which happens during manufacturing and construction phase. Construction coordination model supporting look ahead, construction phasing, construction material movement, labor sequencing, site planning for material delivery, loading and unloading, staging and storage, All about the site related things can be digitalized and virtually simulated so that you have everything in plan, so that you can avoid a lot of rework and kind of clashes and accidents. So you have a construction manager, general contractor, scheduler, construction BIM manager playing a role in this activity. You need at least LOD 300 model to do this activity. You have softwares like Fuser, Synchro, Timeliner, Vico, VO, this kind of solutions. Site safety review. Obviously, safety is very important thing. As we all know, a lot of deaths happen on the construction sites day in, day out. And all these things happening because you're not able to predict the possible accidents. But with BIM as a solution, which will help you to do that simulation, it will also show you where all the kind of safety checks need to be done, where all the barricades should be fixed, what are the kind of safety precautions should be taken. A simulation can be performed and a training can be given to on the site for the site execution team so that they can take the necessary precautions to avoid that accidents. So you at least you need a LOD 300 model here. You have a general contractor, scheduler, construction BIM manager taking role in this activity, and a safety engineer. You have softwares like Fuser, Vico, Control, Timeliner, Synchro, this kind of solutions to do this activity. In-field construction layout. So what does this mean? BIM is used as a basis for laser-guided field layout of walls and building elements. BIM supports better construction layout. That means I can use the BIM model data into this device and also guide the assembling on the site, fabricated assemblies on the site. And also I can collect the actual installation positions on the site through this and update to the BIM model. That means you are able to develop a digital twin also from this. So you have a construction manager, constructor, and the subtrades and the BIM manager. You use the scanners and the workstations, which are predominantly requirement here. Use of Tekla, Edificious, Civil 3D, AutoCAD kind of solutions are there. And LOD 300 model is a requirement. Laser scanning for construction. This is more of a construction, manufacturing, construction phase activity. Usually 3D laser scanners are used at this construction phase, especially to do the progress monitoring. So every 6 months or 3 months once you do the laser scan, overimpose the past and the current, or with the 4-day BIM, you can see how much behind or ahead of the schedule. And also it may be used for collecting the as-is data from the site. So you have a construction manager, constructor, and subtrades and the BIM managers taking role here. You may be using LiDAR scanners and BIM workstations. You may be using technologies like Ferrocene, Lisa, Trimble RealWorks, Cyclone kind of technologies. BIM model with LOD 300 is minimal requirement. Next is prefabricated building components. So how do we do the prefabrication? Even though prefabrication is happening with the 2D data, 2D CAD data what you're giving. But linking the BIM model for the CNC machine for fabrication will give a much accurate and detailed information for fabrications. Here you may need construction managers, constructor and subtrades and the BIM managers. Revit software suites and other technologies can be utilized. And LOD 400 plus models are a requirement. The next category. So what all we see previously is one is on existing data capture, then the modeling, then the analysis, then the energy and sustainability, then the construction review coordination. Now we are coming into sixth item, documentation. Okay. So here, once you have the model, you can develop the construction drawings from the model, which is very common activity performed by many of the companies from the BIM model drawing production. So you have architects, engineers, discipline model coordinators, subtrades, and the BIM managers here. You need a BIM workstation. You may use softwares like Edificious or Revit Suite or so on. And you have LOD 300 model requirement. This is also activity which will help for the construction phase implementation. Shop drawing coordinations. Here you have a detailed shop drawings for fabrication and construction and are delivered from discipline specific design intent models. Okay. You have architects, engineers, discipline model coordinators, and the BIM managers. And LOD 400 is a kind of requirement for this drawings because it's more of a construction shop drawings, which is to be used for coordination on the site. So LOD 400 is critical. The next is digital twin. A digital twin is nothing but a virtual asset of your physical facility. It's a replica of your physical facility. Whatever as is should be reflected in your digital twin. So usually you have a BIM model initially by a design team, and then the construction team starts using that BIM model and updates the changes on the site to the BIM model. Then it becomes a digital twin when you're handing over the model. So you have a design team, construction BIM manager and its team, and you need a BIM workstation. Here, what you will have is a LOD 500 model. You will use some of the authoring softwares like Revit, Navisworks, Edificious, and so on. The next is as-built CAD drawings. Obviously, the previous drawings is like a shop drawings or construction drawings. But this is when you extract the drawings from the digital twin model, that is an as-built BIM model. Then it becomes an as-built CAD drawings, which will be used for a facility maintenance activity. So you will have a design team and the construction BIM managers to extract and give it to the operation team. And then LOD 500 model is required to extract these drawings. And data normalization, because when we are developing a model and adding the data and things, there are multiple people involved in developing it. For example, if I'm speaking about a room, some people would have named it as a conference room, some people maybe meeting room, some maybe as a war room, different naming conventions would be given. And even also on the spacing and other conventions. So to neutralize and normalize those things, this data normalization activity is done. So you may use omni-class kind of classification or uniclass or spreadsheets is usually commonly used. SQL servers can help you to do this activity normalization. And the next category, so as we discussed on first one is existing condition data capture, then the modeling, and then comes into the, what is that? It's on the analysis, then comes into the, well, on the energy and sustainability, then into the construction documentation, then the documentation came in, then the commission and handover, where you are actually handing over the project data to the client and the maintenance team. So there are a set of items that need to be performed in this phase. One is virtual handover. So the virtual handover is the highest, is the design intent model updated with as-built locations for building elements within the model. The next one is COBE, Construction Building Information Exchange. What happens here is you have the COBE sheets taken from design to construction team for their further activity, construction to operation team for their further activity. So that's why you see design, build, and operate COBE sheets, which will give you the details on what are the elements and their parameters and documentation things. Commissioning, which is mainly to systematic process of verifying that all building systems perform interactively according to the design intent and owner's operational needs. This is another use case. Next is disaster planning. When there's kind of natural disasters, how do you overcome that? A kind of simulations can be performed and kept in fear, so that can help for when there's a kind of occurrence of such disasters, how do you recover from that? So here you need BIM use and GIS data for master planning studies that include considerations for disaster planning. So you will have a security consultants, design team, construction BIM managers here taking role. They have softwares like Edificious, Navisworks simulation software, as BIM platform, and so on. Maintenance training. Obviously, you have a digital model that can be used for maintenance. So a proper training should be provided for the maintenance team, how to use that BIM model for maintenance. And that's one of the activity. You have a commissioning agent here. We also call them as the soft landing experts. Facility managers are there, construction BIM managers are there. And LOD 500 is the BIM model required. This is happening in the in-use phase, maintenance phase. Next category is facilities and data integration. This is the last category. I'm speaking from a life cycle perspective. So this is the last category where you are having a digital twin handover of the project is done. Now it's a work of an operation team to integrate your digital twin model with the building management systems for better and smart facility management. So you have one category called assessment models here. So BIM may be used in the field for efficient data collection here. So whatever changes on the site, that will be captured and updated on the BIM model. Then it becomes a record keeping model. First, it's a BIM model, then becomes an as-built model, which is a digital twin, and then becomes a record-keeping model during maintenance. And you have BIM-capable assessment team here and the BIM managers. You have softwares like Ecodemus, Onuma Systems, Tririga integration tools, as BIM platform, existing BIM, these kind of solutions available for this activity. Next is space planning for the move management. This is the design and space planning team will utilize the BIM and intelligent objects to manage space occupancy and users. Because if I take different examples of the spaces, you may not have the same crowd that is different time zones. So do you have the kind of spaces planned to have that kind of crowd behavior movements? That's the kind of activity here. Next is security. So BIM can be used for security studies on public and institutional prisons and judicial and healthcare facilities. So here you have a design BIM managers, construction BIM managers, security and or CPTED consultants. So you may be using softwares like animation softwares, Edificious, model, Solibri model checker, this kind of things. Next is CAFM and CMMS data model integrations, where BIM models can be used for effective computerized maintenance management systems and facility management. So you have a BIM manager, facility managers, project managers taking a role here, and you have a BIM model with LOD 500. You have Tririga, New Camis, Edificious, this kind of solutions used here. Resiliency modeling, which is about visualization and simulation, which can be used to support land use policies and to help analyze first responder data and access period to determine the final strategy. It's again a kind of recheck of the kind of situations when it comes, how do I recover from that? So you have a design team, JS team, and the BIM managers here. You have Edificious, US BIM Debt Platform, and few other solutions like that. So model elements will be with LOD 300 to 350. Last but not the least, it's about building automation system where you are linking the IoT devices with the BIM models and also able to do the lighting control, smoke detections, indoor air quality services, energy supply, energy information management, on-site technical services, and asset locators, environmental control, HVAC maintenance services, fire detection and alarm, security access cameras, all these kind of things can be performed. And it all can be linked with, there are BIM tools which has IoT capability. You can link your IoT devices with the BIM model, and all the data that is capturing through that IoT devices will also be managed on the BIM model. So softwares like FM Systems, UBIM, Ecodemus, ACA softwares has a very good tool with BIM and IoT, ACCA from Italy. And the technology, professionals like BIM managers, project managers, and facility managers are the key people involved. And this is a overall perspective for you to get an understanding like what exactly is BIM. BIM is not a technology. BIM is overall about a data management on a common data environment, which data, whatever is to be shared with different parties, can be fixed. And then different people add the data, different people use the data using different technologies and equipments, and it's a standardized approach. Overall, it's about data management. And don't get confused with the software as a BIM. BIM is about data management. You may use multiple softwares. And as I said, there are more than 200 to 300 BIM softwares available in the market. Strategic decision making is very much important on those slides. So looking into the last slide, well, this is about my brief, because I didn't give a brief introduction in the initial. So my activities is more on digital transformation activities, overall at a macro to micro. Macro, when I say, it's more of a global and the market level. Micro means more focusing on organization to project level within my companies where I work. So industrial development activities I do in my company, where I am heading the BIM strategies, where I set the company's strategies for the digital transformation journey. And also we have a skill development center as a BIM academy, and also support on the ISO BIM certifications. That's my job role, which is my bread and butter in the company. So policy development related areas, I coordinate with Bureau of Indian Standards for developing a national BIM code, being part of the committee, and also coordinating with BSI, BRE for having a kind of national annex for the ISO 19650 for the Indian market. Social Connects, I'm part of the India BIM Association, which I started 6 years ago with some of the leadership team. And it's mainly as a voice of the community for the digital transformation journey. It's a focus of critical utility services, where all the critical utility areas comes into the building sector are taken care here for a digital transformation journey. Forum of Human Rights, Council of Architecture, CREDI. There's several, but I just want to show you some of them. Strategic Connects, I do coordinate with several event organizers and the forums. CII, just before this session, 5 minutes before starting the session, I had one session with Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs through CII, which is on real estate sector. EIG, which is more on a smart cities, they usually organize smart city events in Pragati Maidan, Delhi. Builders Association, IGBC, Griha, ministries. And also academia and research connects I have with some of the premier institutions locally and globally, and also with the private universities, where I support in guest lectures, program developments as a board of studies member, and so on. Global Connects, we do have a kind of MOUs with several global BIM forums like CAN BIM, BIM Forum Brazil, UAE BIM Forum, Thai BIM Association, BIM Africa, BIM for Turkey. So on to have that kind of global connect on the digital transformation, to have the voice of a global community. Well, this is all about from my side. Now, if we can have a Q&A for your queries, I can start answering them. Nikunj, how can I get back to that dashboard? I am not able to see the dashboard.
Sir, can you please stop sharing? Then you can able.
No, I have hidden that. I have hidden that. To stop sharing also, I need to have that control. Or if people can start asking the question, by voice.
Okay. Yes. Also, they can also put in the chat box.
Yeah, whatever is coming on the chat box, please convey to me.
Yes, sure.
So how much time we are left with, Nikunj?
Sir, we will complete by 3:30. For 9 minutes is remaining at 3:30. So before.
We have roughly 15 minutes for your queries. I think you would have not completely understood what we have discussed, but if you have some queries to discuss on this, you're welcome. Feel free.
Yeah. Manas sir, this is Venkatesh.
Hi, Venkatesh.
Yes, sir. So you mentioned a lot of BIM uses. So for this, I think we needed templates. Otherwise, we can't generate every project or something like that. So if you look at my point is like, if you look at a structure analysis, so we don't need complete information about that building. We need some part only in the building.
Correct.
Yeah, if you do in a manual process, it is very difficult, and each and every users. So what is the procedure they follow actually? That is what my question.
See, as an organization, if I want to build a capabilities to deliver services for a matured client, obviously I need to put a strategies in place in a company, understanding what is the current steps, what is the kind of capability building that need to be done, and what is the kind of initiatives to be taken. It's a strategic move. Even at a project level, if you see, how do I do this? You have to set up the SOP templates for delivering these projects. So it's more of a strategic decisions which has to be made, which is very much missing in many companies. So the first and foremost thing, there are no strategic capable skilled professionals in BIM. That is where the challenge comes in when you're investing in BIM. Many people feel it's a wrong investment sometimes because they have gone into a wrong investments. So strategic decision making, and if you are able to build your skills on strategic lines, it will really help you to support in companies for strategic positions. Currently, you can only hear people who are like BIM modelers, planners, coordinators, BIM managers. There are very, very few people on a strategic and leadership line who can make this drive for a company. So there are kind of roles. It can be strategic coordinator, strategic manager, head strategy, digital directors. These kind of roles are not their money, and people have to build their capabilities on those lines also.
Thank you.
So we have a question in the chat box.
Yeah, please go ahead.
LOD 400, could you explain? Is it a technical term?
LOD 400, explain what is LOD 400? Is that the question?
Technical term.
Yeah, I think LOD 100 to 200 is more of a conceptual. 300 is something you have all the BIM models from different disciplines ready, which a design team handover. Usually they hand over at 300 to 350 data. When you're doing the construction activities and changes updates, that's more of a LOD 400. And then when you're handing over the product model with as is data updated into the BIM model, that becomes LOD 500. And when you are maintaining the facility using the same BIM model, updating all the changes during the maintenance, that becomes LOD 500 plus. I think I have answered your question.
I think so, sir. We don't have no more questions in the chat box.
So, well, if there are no questions from anyone, I believe you have completely understood what we discussed today. Is that the way I should take it?
It takes some time to digest everything. It's too much information.
Yeah. So the reason I have this session today with you is, don't narrow down your perspective on BIM. Just getting into one software learning, saying I've learned BIM. The major challenge is many people are learning or many people are educating but if you don't get the right education, nor if you don't learn the right things, and if you have a same skill of many people what having in the market, it becomes a surplus. Supply versus demand cannot be activated. So that's the main challenge.
So one more question is there.
Yeah.
How do we reach the strategic position in BIM?
Yeah, there is a need of skill development. If you're reaching for a technical, what you do is you are working on a software, you are learning how the user interface platforms are there and so on, right? For managerial roles, you're focusing on more on a workflow oriented standardization and deliverables and managing the team. When you're looking into strategic position, you're focusing on what is the global market levels, what is the kind of current situation in my company, what is the kind of roadmap that is needed for the transformation, change management bringing in the company, and looking into the kind of investments and what kind of skill development is required, what kind of team building is required, what kind of technologies and equipments could be procured in a particular company for that strategy for the way forward. It's more of a strategic thing. A skill development should be performed on those lines. So there are some training vendors who can provide you on those lines. So if you want that, you can reach out to me on WhatsApp. I will get you connected to them.
One more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
As a small scale architect, building residential or commercial complex, a lot of benefits are diluted, which are major in bigger projects. How do we justify the cost and skill for such smaller enterprises?
Yeah, this is very important. This is the main topic I was discussing in the previous meeting also with CII, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs event. The most important thing is small SMEs, because BIM drive in a mega scale companies and projects is not difficult. And when it comes to SMEs, the challenge is the cost of software solutions and decision making and what is the way forward. And today we are in the situation where many of you, I don't know what is, the price of software or not. A BIM software solution, you have it for a free to use also. There are BIM softwares which should cost you 2,000 to 3,000 per month also. There are BIM software which should cost you per year 5 to 10 lakhs also. So if you are looking into small scale, you should look into the softwares which are very much workable for you with a better pricing and open BIM solutions, which you can bring in different partners together for the projects. It's not, BIM is not expensive for SMEs. It's a need a strategic approach to implement. Again, understanding at that higher level, strategic level is important to look into the way forward for SME implementations. It's a strategic move again.
So one question from Mr. Umesh is that the application of BIM will be only restricting to private sector, or will it be applicable to government sector also? Because if you observe the class 3 contractors and their work, especially in infrastructure developments, it may difficult to bring them under BIM.
Yeah, again, it's not that public clients are not mandating. There's already several public clients are mandated. Airport authorities, metros, high-speed trains, healthcare, and small, and also for the national highway authorities. And there are a few other state level mandates coming in. Like Kerala government, I see there's a kind of mandate, CPWD taking up a strategic initiative on that. And also day by day, different ministries, military engineering services, they were looking into this. And also few other initiatives like CREDAI, builders associations, and these kind of forums. There's a kind of drive coming in the public level mandates because it's about data transparency. When you bring in BIM, data is transparent for many people and gives a clarity. And I think BIM is very much important for a public sector project, and it's going to come in, and it's already way through with few of the clients, and down the line it will become as a part and parcel of their journey.
Thank you, sir. I think we don't have no more questions. So we can wind up, I think.
Yeah, anyone want to like to reach with me, you're welcome. I use the same WhatsApp number as I discussed in the previous sessions. So if you want, I can share you again the first slide for your understanding. So you're welcome to connect, because BIM for SME is something which is really challenging in the current market because many people don't understand the way forward for that. So here is my number or email. If you want to connect, you're welcome. So thank you for IITPalakkad and India BIM Association, and especially for AICT for sponsoring this. And thank you for IITPalakkad members for taking their efforts and organizing this. and also for the audience for patiently listening to me on this session on the BIM uses for buildings and infrastructure projects. Have a nice evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. We also want to thank you to help us in this uncertain situation which we face today because of the absence of a speaker. And I would like to conclude this section by thanking all the participants for the cooperation today. And we will meet tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Thank you.